TCI Game of the Week. From Rebel Stadium in West Monroe, Louisiana, it's a Class 5A state semifinal game, matching the West Monroe Rebels and the Catholic High Bears. Joining me for tonight's play-by-play call, former Channel 2 sportscaster Dennis McCain. Dennis, good to have you with us.
Rob, great to be here. Rich is on assignment. Beautiful night for football. We've been in West Monroe all afternoon looking at tapes of the West Monroe Rebels, and everybody in this city is talking about tonight's contest. It's a classic Louisiana battle between two great high school football teams. Catholic High from Baton Rouge and West Monroe homestanding here at Rebel Field. Beautiful night for football, and the two teams are ready to go.
You're absolutely right, Dennis. Both these programs over the last 5, 6, 7 years have just been phenomenal. 1993, West Monroe wins the state championship. They're going for another one in 96. Catholic High, what can you say? They're ranked #1 in the state of Louisiana, 10th in the country this week. Big win last week over Shaw. This ought to just be a great football game, Dennis.
Well, it is, Rob. And how do you see tonight's contest before it starts right now? How do you see it matching up the two teams as of right now?
Well, Catholic High all year long has depended on Travis Minor and Major Applewhite. Last week, you'll see in our interview with Dale Weiner, he said that there were some guys who stepped up in a big game, and he thinks that's going to have to happen again tonight for Catholic High to win the football game. On the other hand, West Monroe takes it to the bank. Tommy Banks, big fullback, gets the football most of the time. He's rushed for almost 2,000 yards. He does it all for them. They don't throw the football.
Well, you know, you say they don't throw the football, and you're right. They've only thrown the football, I think, 3 times in the last 2 games, and all they do is just hand it to Tommy.
They hand it to Tommy. They try and get a lead. They've got a fantastic defense that blitzes and stunts on almost every play. Catholic High's offensive line is going to have a tremendous task tonight.
You know, we've been looking to get films all afternoon, as I mentioned, and Tommy Banks gets so close to the quarterback, he's right up at the line of scrimmage.
It's a read call. Tommy Banks is not one step behind the quarterback. They say hut. They stick it in his gut. They'll go to the 1 hole, the 3 hole, the 5 hole. When he decides to take it, he takes it.
It's going to be a great contest. Nice to have all of you tuned in. The third member of our crew tonight is Gene Ponte. He's from right here in Monroe. He's a former sports director at a TV station here in Monroe and now does high school football producing here in the Monroe area. Our final member of the group, the third member of the group, is Gene Ponte.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. And first of all, let me say how much of a pleasure it is to be working with you guys tonight, and what it is a pleasure to be at this football game. Perhaps one of the biggest football games. In fact, everybody here at West Monroe is saying this is the biggest football game this school has ever played in its history, and that is including the 1993 state championship game. They have been getting emotionally wrapped up in this one since obviously last Friday with their win over LaGrange. Catholic, of course, coming off an emotional win of their own against Shaw. It's going to be a great classic ball game. We looked at the field, came out here and walked out here a little while ago. It is cut short. It is going to be a very fast football game, and it should be a classic semifinal matchup in 5A football. Back up to you.
This is the TCI High School Game of the Week, brought to you by Mushmack Photography, the official photographer of the Louisiana High School Coaches Association, Louisiana High School Athletic Association, and all of its state championship events. Call John or Rob today for your sports picture needs at 292-1858. Reebok Team Sports wants you to remember that life is short, so play hard. Protective Insurance Plus. Dean and Remy Brignac are proud sponsors of the TCI Game of the Week and want to remind you to call 291-8800 for all your insurance needs. Jerry Lane Enterprises. At Jerry Lane Enterprises, we've got everything you can imagine, so why shop anywhere else? With 3 locations on Florida Boulevard. McMakin Financial. Jesse Daigle and Mickey Guidry, registered investment advisors for financial, estate, and employee planning. Call McMakin Financial at 926-9585. Specialty Plastics. Specialty Plastics of Baton Rouge, manufacturers of fiberbound fiberglass and advanced composite piping systems. Hooters. We would like to thank Hooters for supplying this year's Press Box hospitality. Visit Hooters on College Drive in Baton Rouge.
It's in a handshake. Sometimes it's in a friendly smile. In some places, it's in the tip of a hat. Or maybe it's in a simple gesture. Opening the lines of communication. TCI.
Hi, I'm Dean Brignac.
And I'm Remy Brignac. We played football for the Panthers.
And now we own Protective Insurance Plus, a corporate sponsor of the TCI High School Football Game of the Week.
For all your auto, health, home, life insurance needs, call 291-8800. That's 291-8800.
Hey, Remy, wasn't it great playing football for the Panthers?
Brother, I had a ball.
LHSAA Sherwood across from Audubon Ford.
Let's see. Now that the upgrading of our cable system with fiber is complete, TCI has a lot more choices. I mean, we're going from 38 channels to 78, which means more quality programming, more choices, better picture quality, and reliability. Quality and quantity. I like that.
Welcome back to Rebel Stadium in West Monroe. Catholic High School comes in here tonight, 13-0 on the season, ranked number 1 in the state. What can we expect from the Bears tonight?
Dennis, I think you can expect just about what you've seen all year long out of Catholic High. Travis Minor running the football, Major Applewhite throwing the football to Brian Williams, Zach Pendarvis, Michael Blackstone. Offensively, Catholic High, I don't think they'll change anything. Defensively, they got a tough task. They got to stop Tommy Banks. The defense has worked extra hard this week on coming up with a game plan to stop him. And earlier this evening, we got to speak with Dale Weiner about tonight's football game. We're here with Catholic High Coach Dale Weiner. Coach Weiner, you guys keep the momentum going after that thriller last week in Baton Rouge?
I certainly hope so. You know, we've had a great week of practice. We've overcome some injuries, and we're going to ask some more guys to step in and fill in, just like we had to do last week against Shaw. Got up here and just saw the Monroe newspaper, and they're calling this the biggest game in the history of West Monroe High. Of course, they won a state title in '93. I thought that should have a higher place in their history, but at any rate, this is a big ball game, and we're going to do our best.
We were watching some films earlier today against West Monroe and Bastrop, and Tommy Banks looks like a load.
Tommy Banks is outstanding. He's certainly the best fullback we've seen in quite a long time, probably since the Spencer kid from Ouachita that's playing for Notre Dame right now. I would put him and Jamie probably on an equal par. Outstanding fullback, and never gets knocked backwards. In all the tapes you see, once he's hit, he seems to always gain yardage after the initial hit, so he's tremendous.
I know Travis and Major have been two big parts of your offense all year long. Last week, Mr. Blackstone and Brian Williams stepped up and played I know on the last drive, Blackstone had 2 catches to keep the drive going. They were just great catches. Those guys just stepped up in a big game.
We really believe that that's what Calico football is all about, that we have a lot of kids as far as numbers, and you never know when it's going to be your turn to step up there and take somebody's place. Greg Brown, an outstanding athlete for us, has a shoulder injury, and he won't play offense or defense tonight. He'll be used strictly for place kicking. And we called on Michael Blackstone last week to step in, and he just did a tremendous job along with Brian Williams, who's been doing that all year long. So, yeah, it gave a great opportunity for some guys to step up to the plate and come through for us.
We've heard a lot about the West Monroe defense. They do a lot of stunting and a lot of blitzing. The offensive line for Catholic High obviously had a busy week this week in the film room.
We had a busy week. Showed them a lot of different looks. We're going to try to get into some offensive sets maybe that they haven't seen us do, and maybe cause an equal amount of hesitation on their part that they normally do to the offense. And they try to confuse people and shift guys around and move an inside linebacker out on the outside and rush from the outside and twist with their defensive linemen and do it. They really do a number of things, and so hopefully our schemes will kind of make them think a little bit too. So it ought to be, it ought to be a great matchup. I'm looking forward to it. This is why you play. This is why you work hard in the off season. This is why you struggle and sweat in the heat and humidity of August, is to get to this type of ball game where you're one game away from maybe playing for the entire state championship.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for stopping by. I know you got to get dressed. You got a football game to coach, some people would say. But thanks for stopping by. Good luck to the Bears tonight, and hopefully we'll see you next week in New Orleans.
Appreciate it.
The West Monroe Rebels are 11-2 on the season. Last week, they had a big win over LaGrange in Lake Charles. And, Rob, we are in the hotbed of high school football in the state of Louisiana. We're in a district where West Monroe plays against teams like Neville, Ruston, in Ouachita. What can we expect from the Rebels tonight?
Well, they come out of a district where it used to be you win this district, you win the state championship. West Monroe obviously still in the playoffs, trying to do that this year. They come into tonight's game off with a big win over LaGrange. Their defense the last 2 weeks against LaGrange and Natchitoches Central have come up with goal line stands late in the game to preserve the victories. They're led by Adam McConathy, a guy who's being recruited by a lot of Division I schools. He has over 130 tackles on the season and 4 fumble recoveries. Offensively, they go to Tommy Banks. He's run the football for almost 2,000 yards, and they run the football. When I mean run the football, they've thrown the ball only 50 times the entire season. They run to set up the throw, but they very rarely throw. This ought to be a good football game and a stern test for the Catholic High defense.
And earlier you had a chance to talk, I believe, with one of the West Monroe coaches.
We did. We talked with the assistant coach at West Monroe, defensive backs coach John Causey, and this is what he had to say earlier this evening. Dennis, we're here with West Monroe assistant coach John Causey. Coach Causey, you work with the defensive backs. The last couple of weeks, your defense has come up big in the fourth quarter to preserve wins for y'all.
Well, we certainly have, and you mentioned a little while ago while we were talking our goal line defense, and we've been just thrilled to death with them over the last couple of weeks.
The win last week, y'all got a fourth quarter touchdown. Your offense turned the ball over a couple of times in the second half, which really hurt y'all. Y'all were moving the ball, but it seemed like y'all turned it over when y'all got a chance to do something, you'd turn it over.
Well, that's true, and the type of offense that we run, that's going to happen sometimes. Hopefully we can cut down on those mistakes tonight and control the game a little more than we have been.
Earlier today, I know Coach Showles got to speak with the team earlier this afternoon, I think before the pregame meal. Was it a motivational type talk, or just guys go out and take care of business and do what we've taught you all year long?
Well, Don's just a straight shooter. He's a motivation to everyone, don't get me wrong, but he's just a straight shooter, and he talked a lot from his heart today, his old repaired heart, if I might say. And you know, Don's one of these that coaches very, very vigorously on the field. Sometimes you wonder whether he loves those kids, and you wonder if those kids love him back. But after what happened today at 1:30, not having seen him for a couple of weeks and him showing up on game day, you know, you could see the love in their eyes for him.
I know we got up here, there were people already tailgating about 3:30 this afternoon. We heard the stadium is sold 10, 11, 12. We've heard up to 18,000 tickets, so it's obviously there's not going to be a place to sit tonight. It was billed in the Morning Advocate as possibly the biggest game in West Monroe's history in football, although you won a state championship in 1993.
Well, there's no doubt about it, and a lot of that has to do with our opponent tonight. Catholic is a formidable foe, is what we say, and more than formidable, actually. They have some weapons that we don't know whether we can deal with them or not, to tell you the truth. They've got a class program, class coaches, class players. We're just fortunate here in West Monroe to host this game. Coach Showles told the team today it might not be the biggest game ever, but it's the biggest game ever right here on our field. And we're glad we're a part of it, and we hope we can represent the northern part of the state, just like I'm sure Catholic's going to represent the southern part of the state extremely well.
Well, Coach Causey, we're glad from TCI, glad to be here with you. Good luck to West Monroe tonight. If you're playing next week, we'll see you in New Orleans. Okay. If not, y'all have had a great season.
Well, thanks a lot, and we appreciate it. Good luck to y'all.
Dennis, back up to you upstairs.
You can feel the excitement in the air. Over 12,000 people in Rebel Stadium here in West Monroe, and we'll be back with the opening kickoff right after this.
You want all of this? You need TCI.
Catholic High football. Its success depends on all three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams meshing together to conquer the competition and ensure victory. Specialty Plastics Incorporated takes the same approach with Fiberbond fiberglass and advanced composites piping systems. Marketing, engineering, and manufacturing meshing together to provide a turnkey product to conquer its competition and ensure victory. Contact Catholic High Graduate President Rick Lee, class of 77, and Head of Engineering Kevin Schmidt, class of 88, at 752-2705.
Spent a lot of good times in this lake. A lot of good memories.
Yeah, and now that you're retired, you can spend a lot more.
And that's why they call these the golden years.
But how did you know you were ready? Financially, I mean.
I got hooked up with a good investment planner a few years ago. We determined some goals, and when I got my lump sum from the company, it all fell into place.
Sounds like you took pretty good care of you.
Yes, it's smooth sailing from here on out. Did I ever tell you about that 14-pound bass I caught?
Yeah, a time or two.
Oh, get over it.
But make it financial.
Get unzipped. Be prepared to be tense. Feel the high vibration. Unreal. This fall on BET. We got it.
TCI and I Care are reaching out to help provide a drug-free community. For more details, call 928-4729.
Now we're ready to go. This is one of two semifinal games going on in the state of Louisiana tonight. The other one, Karen Crow against Jesuit, and I think that ball game's being played in Karen Crow.
That's correct, and that's a 7 o'clock start. That game's already underway. We're going to be trying to get scores all evening on that one and update people on it, Rick Dennis.
And then, of course, the two winners next week in the Superdome for the state championship of 5A in the state of Louisiana.
Dennis, West Monroe knows a little bit about that game. They won it in 1993. They're Catholic High trying to get there. They were there in 1990, lost to another North Louisiana team in Ruston. Had a great run in the 1990 playoffs, having as good a run, if not better, in 96, and hoping it pays off with a trip to the Superdome next week.
Well, you're looking at Coach Aldridge, and of course, he's filling in for Coach Shows, who had that heart attack after their win over Natchitoches Central.
That's right, Dennis. That would happen on Sunday after their game. This is actually Coach Aldridge's second week to fill in for Coach Shows, but unlike last week, Coach Shows is here tonight. He's sitting up in the press box, and somebody said he may call a play or two. We're not sure.
Well, he looks great. I spoke with him earlier, and he's really ready for it. He's thanking everybody as they come by and wish him the best in his recovery.
Well, no one expected him to be back this quick. He had a quadruple bypass just about a week and a half ago, and he's back at the stadium. Said his doctor said he could do whatever he wanted to do. Said sitting in a press box watching the game is no different to him than sitting in his den and watching one on television.
Well, the Bears are taking the field. Travis Minor going deep for the Catholic High Bears. And kicking off for West Monroe will be Adam Beasley. Now, Beasley has it teed up at the 40, and he's going to be kicking straight away at the Ouachita River.
Also, Aaron Boone, number 22, deep for Catholic High, Dennis.
Okay, Travis Minor and Boone deep for Catholic High School. Here is the kick by Beasley. It's going to come down, and it's going to be fumbled around, but then picked up by Minor. Minor comes back down the field. Minor breaks loose. Minor is at the 40, the 50, the 40, the 35, the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Catholic High School.
No flags, Dennis. No flags on the play. That one's going to stand.
Catholic High School has stunned this crowd in West Monroe. The Bears lead it 6-0.
Great blocking on that play. He hit the wall full speed. You know, a lot of times when you see a guy bobble a ball like that, Dennis, the over pursuit from the kickoff team causes something like that, but there were great blocks on the play. He took that one a distance.
But what a beautiful blocking scheme by the Bears also. Boy, those blockers out in front of Travis just opened it up. He got in behind him, and when he got into the clear, all that West Monroe could see was that big number 28 on his back.
He doesn't need much room, Dennis. He got a little bit of a seam at about the 30-yard line, and I don't think he was touched all the way through.
Greg Brown in to attempt the extra point for the Bears. Catholic already leading 6-0 in West Monroe. Here is the snap. The kick is in the air, and the kick is good. The Bears lead 7-0.
West Monroe lucky they didn't have a flag on that play. Their ends just clobbered Travis Minor, but there were no flags on the play. Dale Weiner's out on the field about the 20-yard line with, Major Applewhite trying to get a conversation with the officials.
Well, the kickoff was with the win for West Monroe, but it came down the field. Travis Minor grabbed it, bobbled it momentarily, then picked it up, and after he picked it up, it was all Travis Minor. Beautiful blocking, and Minor took it all the way for a Catholic touchdown. The Catholic fans on the other side of the field going wild as the Bears lead 7-0.
Well, we thought we might see the Catholic High offense on the field first, but take back what I said earlier. We can go back to next week. The Catholic High defense is going to be on the field first, but this time they're coming out with a 7-0 lead instead of having to come out to start the football game, Dennis.
Well, we were all ready to start talking about the defense of West Monroe and the offense of Catholic, and well, we had to change our plans. Now Catholic High will be kicking off, and that will be Greg Brown from the 40-yard line.
That's number 9, Credell Williams, back deep for West Monroe at around the 10-yard line.
The West Monroe crowd is completely stunned because they were really pumped for this game, and then Minor just took the enthusiasm away from the West Monroe side. Let's see if Catholic can keep it like that, because Brown is getting ready to kick off.
Momentum definitely with Catholic High right now. West Monroe just needs to settle down, come back, get a good return here, get their offense on the field, and try and make a few things happen to get a little bit of momentum back. Right now, it's all Catholic High's favor.
Here's Greg Brown now coming up on the football and kicks it. The ball's going to come down to about the 10-yard line, and the Rebels get it there and then start back up the field with it, and the Bears get him at about the 25-yard line, and from that point, West Monroe will go on offense at the 25.
That was Jason Brown, number 4, for Catholic High, making a stop, Dennis.
Okay, now watch this offense by West Monroe. Of course, the man to watch, as we've been talking about all night, is Tommy Banks. Tommy lines up very close to the West Monroe quarterback, Stephen Dollar, and then he has a tailback who's even farther back in the offense. If you notice, look how far that tailback is back, and Tommy Banks is right up on the quarterback. Here is the West Monroe quarterback taking the ball and faking up the middle, and then pitching out to the tailback, who comes to the 40, to the 45, and then out of bounds at the 48-yard line. First down for West Monroe.
Dennis, it's a read option offense that they want. Quarterback takes the snap and leaves it in Tommy Banks' stomach as long as he can. Either Tommy Banks puts his hands over and it takes it through the hole, or they pull it back and go with a wide pitch. That time the end came across the line. He pulled it back and pitched it to the tailback.
You know, I've never seen a tailback that far back, but he looked out there, then pitched it to Lynn, and he went for a first down, the 48-yard line, as Dollar brings the Rebels back up to the line of scrimmage. Here is a handoff straight ahead, and the Bears this time do a better job. They get him at about the 48-yard line, maybe the 49 of Catholic. About a 3-yard gain on the play.
Keegan Williams in on a stop for the Bears, as long as Julius Bessix.
Number 44 is Julius Bessix.
You'll see that play all night long. Either he'll keep it or he'll pitch it. West Monroe, as the Dollar, the quarterback has only thrown it 50 times all year long.
Once again, Dollar has only thrown 3 passes in the last 2 games for West Monroe. He has the Rebels back to the line of scrimmage. Second down, 7 yards to go. Dollar takes the ball and once again hands it off, a fumble on the play, and it looks like the Bears have it. They do.
That's Kendrick Shanklin with the recovery for Catholic High. This has been a problem for West Monroe the last few weeks, has been the turnovers.
The Bears get it back at the 40-yard line, just outside their own 40, and once again the Bears have a chance to go up big in this contest. As you mentioned, West Monroe, they've overcome those mistakes in the last few weeks. But you knew it was just a matter of time could it could catch up with West Monroe.
Yeah, you don't want to make those kind of turnovers in a game like this.
All right, here is Major Applewhite now. Major Applewhite drops back to pass. Big rush coming. Throws complete. And that's Minor with a football down across midfield to the 48-yard line of West Monroe. And a first down for the Bears.
On that play, Dennis, Travis Minor was not lined up in the backfield. He was split out to the right side of the field. That was a design screen pass to get the ball to Travis Minor.
Well, Applewhite had Campese back there with him, but that was the only player he had in the backfield. And Minor just kind of flared out, and a beautiful job of hitting him by Applewhite. Here's the Bears again now. Applewhite. A lot of noise in the stadium. Applewhite calling out the play to his team. And here's Applewhite right now pitching the ball back, and this time the Rebels get him. Down goes Minor at about his own 49-yard line.
He's going to lose 3 on that play. It looked like West Monroe sent everybody on that play. They almost got to Applewhite before he could make the pitch.
Second down, 13.
Second down, 13 yards to go for the Catholic Bears. The Bears all in white except for those red, or rather the orange stripes and the black helmets tonight. West Monroe in navy, red, and white. Here are the Bears again now. Second down, 13 yards to go. 2 wide receivers are out to the right.
Look for Brian Williams on this play in the slot.
Here's Applewhite.
Usually runs an out pattern here. That's Williams in the slot.
Here's Williams with the ball to the 45. And Williams is going to be pulled down at about the 44-yard line. Well, they didn't get it all back, but they've got to start. And the Bears now are about 4 yards short of a first down.
Yeah, that's just a safe pass. Catholic High runs. It's about a 7 or 8 yard out pattern. And they get the ball to Brian Williams and hope he can break a couple of tackles.
Well, it's going to be a long 4. We'll call it 5 for Catholic High School. The ball resting at the West Monroe 43-yard line. Here comes a play in from the bench. Applewhite takes it and then moves his team to the line of scrimmage. Major Applewhite with a wide receiver out to the right and also out to the left. Back to pass, looking downfield. Has a man that he overthrows.
That's Ross Campese that was right at the sticks. Just overthrew him. The pass was a little high.
And so the Bears now, for the first time tonight, will move into punt formation. 4th down, 5 yards to go for Catholic.
Brian Williams, the punter for Catholic High. He's averaging close to 40 yards a punt. Last week, had a great week. Kept Shaw pinned back in the second half. Averaged over 48 yards a punt last week, Dennis.
Brian Williams in deep punt formation for the Bears. And deep for West Monroe. Looks like maybe
Creedell Williams.
Williams. Okay, here's the punt by Brian Williams. West Monroe's not going to field, and the ball's going to go out of bounds at about the 8-yard line. So that's where West Monroe will put it in play.
He's just done a great job of punting the football the last couple of weeks, Dennis. Kept Shaw backed up all week like that last week in Baton Rouge.
Well, Brian Williams is very dangerous back there. There's a lot of things he can do with the football, but he is a great punter and a great ball player. And that time, once again, he pins West Monroe deep in their own territory.
Both these coaching staffs felt that special teams play a big part in this football game.
Here's Stephen Dollar now for West Monroe up to the line of scrimmage. Look how deep that tailback is. He has Banks right up there close to him, and this time takes it and hands it to Banks. And Banks crashes out to about the 13-yard line, and he'll have a gain of about 5 yards.
Tommy Banks on a year, Dennis, has run the ball for 1,870 yards. Only guy close to Travis Minor in touchdowns has got to be Tommy Banks. He's got 27 touchdowns running the football this year for West Monroe.
Well, the Bears are in there pretty tight on defense, Rob. Here's Dollar now, calling the signals. Then takes the football. Hands off again up the middle, and this time Banks breaks it out to about the 23-yard line.
Just a basic dive play right off guard. If Catholic High can't stop that, you'll see it all night long.
Number 7, Brian Williams.
Brian Williams had to come up to make the tackle, and you know, we were talking to the West Monroe coaches before the game, and they were telling us that that last week and for some time that a lot of times they get off to a bad start. They did against Neville, but they came back. They're very, very dangerous.
Right, they were down to Neville here a few weeks ago, 14-0, and came back and won the football and dominated the second half.
They keep doing what they do best. Here's Banks, and Banks takes it out to the 29-yard line. Going to get about 5 yards.
6-yard gain, second down and 4.
Just over 5 yards on the gain for West Monroe. And the Rebels look pretty good on this drive. They've moved it out from their own 8-yard line.
They've done a good job of moving the football out from deep in their own territory here. They'd have to go 92 yards here. With Tommy Banks running the football like that, it's just something they could do.
Well, they're breaking through that initial defense of Catholic High on this series. Here, once again, is Banks with the ball, but this time Catholic High School comes up, and a host of Catholic High players pull him down at about the 29-yard line.
Julius Bessick's blitzed on that play and forced him to right into the hands of Matt Cross.
Yeah, it looks like Luke came up and helped out on that tackle also.
You have a 3rd and 3 here, Rich. You think they might throw it?
Well, I don't know. You know, they don't throw it a lot. And I think that what's going to happen here is probably they'll just keep doing what they've been doing. Maybe a pitch to that tailback. Boy, he's back in the backfield, really a far way up from the line of scrimmage. Let's see what they do, though. I don't know about the pass. They don't do it much, only 3 times in 2 games.
Got a flag on the play.
Flag on the field.
Flag before the snap.
See what the call is. Well, they're calling offsides on West Monroe.
Probably in a neutral zone.
Well, that's how it happens on offense. If you get in that neutral zone, it's over. I mean, they don't wait for the play to start. If you line up in the neutral zone, they throw the flag immediately, and that's just what they did. And that really hurts West Monroe because with their running attack now, they have 8 yards to go. Real tight formation for West Monroe, and here is the quarterback for West Monroe throwing a long pass, and it's incomplete, just overthrown.
They had him open around the 50-yard line, just overthrew him on the play. How's Brian Williams back on the coverage?
Well, Middleton was breaking clear at about midfield, and the pass just overthrown. Catholic has held West Monroe, and the Rebels will have to kick it away.
Jeff Malinsky is the West Monroe punter, Dennis. He also does a good job punting. Gets you close to 40 yards of punt. Deep for Catholic High is going to be Travis Miner.
Let's see if Travis can get off another great return. Malinsky back to punt for West Monroe. He's standing at about his own 10-yard line, steps up and kicks it from the 15. Here is Miner watching the ball bounce, backing up from it, and Travis is not going to field the ball as West Monroe goes down and touches it dead at the Catholic High School 24.5-yard line. First down for the Bears.
Good punt there.
Down at the 25-yard line.
Good swing and field position for West Monroe. They got it on their own 8. They moved it out with a couple of first downs and kicked it deep, and Catholic High is going to take over their own 25.
Well, not only did the punter do a good job, but the West Monroe team was really down the field. We're in the first quarter from Rebel Stadium in West Monroe, Louisiana. The Catholic High School Bears lead by a score of 7-0. Travis Miner takes the opening kickoff and races for a Catholic High School touchdown. The Bears back on offense. Major Applewhite with 2 wide receivers out to the left, and he'll just take it and hand it off straight ahead. And then banging up the middle, Miner gets about 4 yards for the Bears. Second down and 6.
That was Keith Catering on the stop of West Monroe linebacker.
We'll call it a gain of 3, and so the Bears now will have second down, 7 yards to go. The ball at their own 28-yard line. The Bears are coming with wide receivers out this way. They have Blackstone out far to the left. Here now is the quarterback for Catholic keeping on an option play and then taking the ball himself across the 35-yard line, and that's going to be enough for a Catholic High School first down.
Just a simple option play. He reads what the defensive end of the quarterback's going to do, turned it upfield that time, and picked up a first down for Catholic High.
Well, a big hole opened up in that left side of the West Monroe line, and when Applewhite saw it, he just took it downfield and picked up the first down. Here's Catholic High moving to the line of scrimmage again, and Applewhite with 2 running backs has Campese up close and then takes the ball and gives it to Miner. Miner moves it to the 40, Miner to the 45. They get Travis Miner, but he's all the way up to the 48-yard line, and that is another first down for Catholic High.
See what Travis Miner could do there. They had him for about a 6-yard gain. He made 1 move to the sidelines and got another 7 yards.
Boy, he runs so smooth. They look like they had him there for about a 3-yard gain, but then he just shifted around and then moved it down the sideline, and then they pushed him ahead for another 3 yards, and it's a first down for Catholic High at the 47-yard line of Catholic. Here's Klein Peter now, and Brian Williams out to the left. And quarterback Applewhite back to pass. Big rush, and they knock Applewhite down.
That's Adam McConathy, the linebacker we talked about earlier in the game, in the pregame show, has 131 tackles on the season. Number 132 was a tough one right there, Dennis.
I tell you what, he came through untouched, and he knew what to do when he got there. He took Applewhite and dropped him, and the Bears now are going to be faced with a second down and about 20 yards to go for a first down. What do you think?
They love to blitz, Dennis.
Oh, they do, and you know, we said that before the game, they like to come, and boy, did they come with everything that time.
They've got McConathy out here guarding Travis Minor on the left side of the
way
screen.
To the left. Here is Applewhite. Looks like a fumble. Let's see who gets it. Well, it looks like the Bears got it. Looks like the Bears got it, Rob. Boy, that's a lucky break because the ball was loose.
Strange look on that play. Travis Minor lined up all the way here close to the stadium, and the linebacker Adam McConathy had him man-to-man out here.
What do you think the Bears had in mind there with Travis out?
It looked like it was a throwback. Travis Minor took a step forward and took 2 steps behind the line of scrimmage. I think they may have been trying to set some to him on this side of the field.
Third down and almost all the way across West Monroe to go for a first down now. The Bears will have to go to the 43-yard line of West Monroe for a first down, and they have it at their own 34.
That's going to be a neutral zone infraction on West Monroe. They were going to try to time a blitz there.
It looked like they made contact with one of the Catholic High linemen.
Yeah, Keith Carter was going to blitz at that time on West Monroe and just stepped into the neutral zone.
Well, that'll cut down that a lot of yardage that they need for a first down. Still a long way to go for Catholic. The balls move out now to the 39, but they have to go to the 43-yard line of West Monroe for the first down. Here's Blackstone now coming this way. Wide receiver for Catholic, and here is Applewhite handing off. And West Monroe trying to get the Catholic runner in the backfield, and they do. That was Shanklin with the ball. West Monroe tore through and got him down in the backfield, and Catholic once again will have to punt.
Yeah, that was Michael Leonard and Keith Carter again on a stop. They had that play read out from the time it started, Dennis.
Fourth down for Catholic, and this crowd in West Monroe delighted with their Rebel defense for holding Catholic High School on 2 consecutive possessions. All right, Brian Williams now is going to punt it away for Catholic. He's standing back at his own 20, gets a little low snap, but gets the ball away and kicks a beautiful spiral down to about the 23-yard line of West Monroe, where the Rebels try to come back with it, but Catholic is down the field fast, and the Bears pull down the runner from West Monroe at the 23-yard line.
Brent Dugas on the stop for Catholic High, Dennis. Brent Dugas, just a wonderful special teams player for Catholic High. He's been making big plays on the special teams all year long.
Well, that was Kenny Robinson running the ball back for West Monroe, but Catholic down the field fast. Good job by Brian Williams to get the punt off. Here's Stephen Dollar again on the option. This time he's going to keep it, and he's going to be pulled down at about the 28-yard line. So he'll get about 4 yards on the play.
Ryan Mook and Brian Williams on the stop, Dennis.
You know, Catholic looks very fast in that secondary. They are chasing down the West Monroe runners. We noticed on tape that we looked at that a lot of the teams West Monroe has played so far couldn't catch the running back once he got past the line of scrimmage.
The West Monroe coaches today said that same thing, that Catholic High had a lot of speed in the defensive backfield, and it was a concern that they had.
Tommy Banks, that big runner for West Monroe, lining up close to the quarterback, Dollar. And he's going to take and give it to Lynn, the tailback. And Lynn is going to move it out to about the 33-yard line. He's going to be, though, about a yard short of a first down.
Williams on the carry. Tackled by Clay Bostic.
That was Creedell Williams, Dennis, in at tailback on that series.
Well, he's done a good job by substituting in there, and Williams looks good back there.
Yeah, he does. One of the reasons I think he lines up back there is on that option. He gets a little bit of better look at the field from that deep. He actually but if you watch the play, he comes up 2 or 3 steps on the read and really is in the same place that a normal tailback would line up.
This is a big play, Rob, because it's 3rd down and looks like less than a yard to go from West Monroe. The big man has it. He has it up the middle. He has a 1st down. He's out across the 35-yard line to the 36, and West Monroe has a 1st down.
Yeah, there was very little doubt as to who was going to touch the football on that play. Tommy Banks is he's a short yardage back. He's a long yardage back. He is the back for West Monroe.
Well, it's hard to keep West Monroe from gaining a few things there, a few yards in the middle. We're at the end of the 1st quarter now, and the score is 7-0. Catholic High leads. And at this time, let's go down to the field to Gene Ponte.
Boy, Dennis, what a start to this football game tonight. Catholic with that opening touchdown really looked like they were coming out with something to prove tonight. West Monroe came out a little nervous, and it was obvious in the first couple of series, but things seem to have just kind of slowed down a little bit for them as far as tempo. Interesting statistic in this football game. In the last 8 years, the representative from District 2-5A has been in the state's finals down in the Superdome. Catholic, of course, with a 7-0 lead right now, well on their way to trying to put a stop to that. We'll see what happens over the next 3 quarters. Back up to you guys.
From Rebel Stadium, it's 7-0. We'll be back right after this.
This is the TCI High School Game of the Week, brought to you by Mushmack Photography, the official photographer of the Louisiana High School Coaches Association, Louisiana High School Athletic Association, and all of its state championship events. Call John or Rob today for your sports picture needs at 292-1858. Reebok Team Sports wants you to remember that life is short, so play hard. Protective Insurance Plus. Dean and Remy Brignac are proud sponsors of the TCI Game of the Week and want to remind you to call 291-8800 for all your insurance needs. Jerry Lane Enterprises. At Jerry Lane Enterprises, we've got everything you can imagine, so why shop anywhere else? With 3 locations on Florida Boulevard. McMakin Financial. Jesse Daigle and Mickey Guidry, registered investment advisors for financial, estate, and employee planning. Call McMakin Financial at 926-9585. Specialty Plastics. Specialty Plastics of Baton Rouge, manufacturers of fiberbound fiberglass and advanced composite piping systems. Hooters. We would like to thank Hooters for supplying this year's Press Box hospitality. Visit Hooters on College Drive in Baton Rouge.
You know, it's the little things in town that make cable so unique. Like the Baton Rouge Magic in their T-ball season opener. The weekend weather forecast for the False River Bass Pro-Am Fishing Rodeo. Young Daniel Anderman making River Oaks Elementary shine at the local school board meeting. It's cable, and it provides more than just 78 channels of network programming. It hits closer to home with programming you won't find anywhere else. TCI.
Hi, I'm Dean Brignac.
And I'm Remy Brignac. We played football for the Panthers.
And now we own Protective Insurance Plus, a corporate sponsor of the TCI High School Football Game of the Week.
For all your auto, health, home, life insurance needs, call 291-8800. That's 291-8800.
Hey, Remy, wasn't it great playing football for the Panthers?
Brother, I had a ball.
LHSAA Sherwood across from Audubon Ford.
Catholic High football. Its success depends on all 3 phases of the game. Offense, defense, and special teams meshing together to conquer the competition and ensure victory. Specialty Plastics Incorporated takes the same approach with fiberbond, fiberglass, and advanced composites piping systems. Marketing, engineering, and manufacturing meshing together to provide a turnkey product to conquer its competition and ensure victory. Contact Catholic High Graduates Vice President Rick Lee, class of 77, and Head of Engineering Kevin Schmidt, class of 88, at 752-2705.
Spent a lot of good times in this lake. A lot of good memories.
Yeah, and now that you're retired, you can spend a lot more.
That's why they call these the golden years.
But how did you know you were ready? Financially, I mean.
I got hooked up with a good investment planner a few years ago. We determined some goals, and when I got my lump sum from the company, it all fell into place.
Sounds like you took pretty good care of you.
Yes, it's smooth sailing from here on out. Did I ever tell you about that 14-pound bass I caught?
Yeah, a time or two.
Oh, get over it. Making financial.
We're back at Rebel Stadium in West Monroe. A big crowd on hand as Catholic High School leads 7-0. They took the opening kickoff. Travis Miner grabbed it and raced for a Catholic High touchdown, but no scoring since then, and we're still sitting at 7-0.
Both defenses have played well, Dennis, in the first quarter.
Different formation this time for West Monroe. They have two running backs, and they take it, and they will hand it off to the big man, and he will take it up to about the 39-yard line and get about 3 yards on the play. You know, it doesn't look like he's getting much, but he gets 3 or 4 yards when he hits the middle.
He falls forward for about 3 yards, Dennis.
A little different formation that time for West Monroe. I tell you, as you look down at West Monroe, that dark navy almost looks like Catholic does when they're in the
sure
their dark
all-black uniforms. It sure does.
Very deep navy for West Monroe. Here is Dollar, who is the quarterback of West Monroe, taking the ball and then handing it off straight ahead once again to Banks. The Bears do a good job this time, though. He gets across the 40. He's still going to be about 5 yards short of a first down.
Yeah, Julius Beckus and Daniel Loop on the stop for Catholic High that time.
Well, the Bears had that one defense very well, and I think they're starting to look for Banks coming up the middle now.
I think West Monroe lulls you to sleep with Tommy Banks, and they'll pull it out, and they'll go with a pitch and hope that the defense is concentrating on Tommy Banks.
Well, West Monroe comes back with that familiar formation this time as Dollar has Banks right beside him, and then Williams is deep in the set. But here is Dollar again, and this time Dollar has a first down. Dollar handed the ball off to Banks, and Banks moved it across midfield.
He runs
the 48-yard line.
He runs the ball hard, Dennis. He gets hit once or twice to slow him down, but he continues moving his legs and driving forward.
I'm really impressed with his acceleration, too. He comes off the ball really fast moving.
For a guy that size, he does have good mobility, and he's got good footwork, good speed.
And he runs north and south, and he's leaning forward, and as you mentioned, he'll fall for another couple of yards.
The only thing east and west about Tommy Banks is the way the field is laid out.
That's right. Here's Dollar again now, and he is going to give it again to Banks. And Banks has it down to the Catholic 37-yard line, and another first down for West Monroe. The Rebels are on the move, Rob.
Yeah, Dennis, we have talked about Tommy Banks all night long, but his offensive line is huge. And when they're blocking well and a guy that big running behind them, I can see how teams have had problems trying to stop West Monroe.
Well, if you hit the middle 3 times, it doesn't take but just a little hole, and Banks is going to be through it. And then once he makes it past the line of scrimmage, he's at least out there for 7 or 8 yards.
Right. Catholic High had a little trouble stopping Shaw last week in the first half of the running game. They're very good at making adjustments at the half, and we'll see if this continues for the rest of the night.
Here's Banks again, and Banks this time moves across the 35-yard line to about the 34-yard line of Catholic High. Second down as Williams makes the tackle. It's going to be second down and about 7 to go. A very fast-moving contest, and we suspected that it would be. A lot of running on the ground.
Football.
Already into the second quarter. 9 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the first half.
And only one penalty. In a game this big, you'd think there'd be a little hype and a couple of offsides. Leave just one penalty so far in a football game.
Here's Banks real close again, and he gets the ball again, and this time he takes it down to the 31. He's going to be about 4 yards short of a West Monroe first down.
You may see the option on this one. He'll pull it out, either throw that little flare pass out or maybe pitch it to Williams on this play.
Have you ever seen a tailback that deep in a formation?
No, I haven't, but like I said earlier, once the ball is snapped, it's almost a delayed action, and he takes 2 or 3 steps to the line of scrimmage, and he's really, when they're running the option, he's in the same position that a normal tailback would be in. Why he lines up that late to start with, I'm not real sure.
Well, that's a great point. He has a tremendous head start when he's back there. Here is Dollar now. The Rebel fans urge on West Monroe. Quarterback keeps it for West Monroe, but he slips down. He slips down about 2 yards short of a first down.
They'll go for this, Dennis. I know last week in the fourth quarter on a 4th and I think 16 or 15, they went for it from their own 40 against LaGrange.
4th down and 1.
They don't like to punt.
It's 4th down and just over a yard to go for a first down for West Monroe. Actually, just about a yard.
If this crowd has anything to say about it, they're going to make it because they are loud.
West Monroe up to the line of scrimmage. Stephen Dollar calls the signals for the Rebels. Who you think's going to get the ball? Guess who? He's got it. Banks. First down for the Rebels.
Just broke through the initial line, Dennis. Tripped up over one, but still picked up 5 yards on the play. That's going to be a first down for West Monroe. It's been a good drive by the Rebels.
It's been an excellent drive, and they're really milking the clock, too. The clock down to 7 minutes, 40 seconds to go in the first half. 7-0 once again. The Bears from Catholic in Baton Rouge leading over West Monroe. Here's West Monroe with Banks right behind the quarterback and getting the ball again, and this time bouncing off of a tackler and getting about 5 yards for the Rebels.
Did a good job there pulling it out and picking up 5 yards. Julius Bessick's on the stop for Catholic High.
Boy, Bessick's has been a great player for Catholic all year. I had an opportunity to speak with his mother before the game, and she's a fine lady. Had that number 44 jersey on.
She's here every week, Dennis.
West Monroe, 2nd down, 5 yards to go. Banks with the ball again, and this time he's down to about the 16-yard line. Short gain then for West Monroe. The Bears did a good job of stacking that one up.
Hunter Andrews on a stop for Catholic High on that play.
Hunter Andrews has also done a great job for Catholic, has that whole defense of Catholic High. Boy, I tell you what, sometimes they bend just a little bit. They're all there and they work as a unit. They like each other and they take pride in working as a team on defense.
You're absolutely right. That's the Dale Weiner philosophy. His whole team responds like that. What can you do for the guy next to you?
Here is Banks with the ball twisting and getting a first down for West Monroe. What a great run.
They had him stopped at about the 15, and he just kept his legs moving and twist and turn and fell forward for 5 yards.
He is a real bull from West Monroe, Tommy Banks.
Aaron Boone finally stopped him, but a couple of Bears had him around the 15-yard line and would have brought up about a 4th down.
We talked to a lot of people up in West Monroe before the game, and we were talking with them about their offense, and they all said, we give it to Tommy. We give it to Banks.
There are no secrets. We give it to Banks. As one guy said, back in Baton Rouge, they take it to the bank with Tommy Banks.
Here's Dollar now calling the Stephen Dollar gives the ball on and fakes a
fumble.
pickup.
We got a fumble
on the field after the fake
West Monroe
out.
It
looks like West Monroe has retained possession of the ball.
That just continues to be a problem for them. They've been able to move the football, and they get 1 or 2 turnovers like that in the game. It just slows them down. They've really been stopping themselves lately.
I've said Banks so much, I thought that he had the ball again, but it was a great fake by the West Monroe quarterback.
I think everyone in the stadium thought he had the football again.
He does a great job of putting that ball in and then taking it back out, but unfortunately, on the play, the ball went loose for West Monroe, but they got it.
It almost looks like him and Tommy Banks are fighting for the football when it's in his stomach.
It really does. Here is Dollar now once again with Banks up close, and he takes the ball, pitches it out to Williams, and Williams is going to be knocked down by a beautiful tackle. The Bears get him at about the 10-yard line.
Aaron Boone laid a lick right there, Dennis.
Well, Boone did a great job, and the West Monroe crowd, and as we did, thought that that might be a big play.
If he doesn't make the play, it is. It was open out there. Boone fought off the tackle and really laid a lick.
Good job by the Bears. It's 3rd down, 9 yards to go for West Monroe.
They can get a first down at the 1-yard line, Dennis.
Stephen Dollar, the man who runs the show for West Monroe, pitches out to Williams, and Williams takes it to just outside the 5-yard line. Now, West Monroe's going to be short of a first down. They'll be short of a first down by about 5 yards. 4.5 yards to go for a first down for West Monroe. The crowd wants West Monroe to go for it.
5-yard gain. Brings up 4th down.
But West Monroe has opted to send in their field goal kicker.
They've only attempted 2 field goals all year. If he makes this one, it'll be the first field goal, the first time they have 3 points, because they haven't made a field goal all year long. Cavakai is going to call a timeout on the play.
Tonight's second quarter sponsor is Clayton's Bistro and Pizzeria in Washington Plaza.
Not one single field goal the whole year.
They've not made a
for
field
West
goal
Monroe,
all
so
season. No field goals, and they don't throw it, Dennis, so you know what they're doing with the football, scoring that many points. They're running it, and they're running it well.
Catholic has done a good job keeping the football tonight also. I mean, as far as handling the football, but boy, this West Monroe team has had a tremendous drive, and this was something that we thought might happen before we got here tonight. With the exception of the kickoff return, we thought West Monroe could grab the ball and keep it for almost the entire quarter.
And they had. There's only 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the second quarter, and they had it a little. They got this ball. They got the football when there was still time left in the first quarter. So this has been somewhere around a 10-minute drive for West Monroe.
Well, it's a little difficult to see who's going to kick this field goal because they haven't tried one. We'll try to pick his number up for you.
It looks like number 48 that's going to kick it for West Monroe, which is Malinsky, who's the punter.
It's Malinsky who will do the field goal kicking right now, or the attempted field goal for West Monroe. Catholic leading 7-0, and West Monroe trying to cut into the Bear lead.
Catholic High blocked a field goal last week against Shaw. That really was a big turning point in the second half of that football game.
Well, Catholic's in tight on defense. Here's Malinsky.
They got another one.
They got it. The Bears block it, and then they bring it back to about the 15-yard line. It's no good, and Catholic still leads 7-0.
Kendrick Shanklin came untouched from the far side, Dennis, and I think Kendrick got the block last week also. They've been the special teams for Catholic High the last 2 weeks have really done a great job.
Rob, did you call that one? Good call and a beautiful block by Catholic High. That keeps the lead at 7-0, and the Bears will go back on offense with 3 minutes and 38 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Catholic High offense has had a good rest, Dennis. They hadn't been on the field in about 20 or 25 minutes.
Here's Applewhite now, handing off, and then West Monroe comes up and pulls down Travis Miner. And Miner's going to lose about 4 yards on the play, and so Catholic will have second down and 14 to go. Boy, West Monroe did a good job on that play.
Yeah, Bo Smith in on a stop there for West Monroe. Did a fine job of stringing the play out and making contact.
Well, that's the way you have to get Travis. You have to get him before he gets started. And they did that time for a 4-yard loss. Catholic High School moving now toward the east, or toward the Washita River, and it looks like they have a little wind behind them as they go that way.
Travis Miner's in a slot form. They got a flag on the play. Probably too much time on Catholic High. The play clock was winding down while he was audibling.
That's going to cost the Bears 5 yards, and after that 4-yard loss, it's going to be second down and 19 for Catholic High.
5-yard penalty.
It is a delay of game call. Catholic High digging themselves into a hole here. Second down and 19 to go.
I think the Bears would like to pick up a couple of first downs, get the ball out of there. They don't want to give the ball back to West Monroe around midfield.
Let's see what the Bears do here. Campese is the lone running back for Catholic High School. As Applewhite takes the ball, drop backs to pass. Here's Applewhite now, throwing the ball, looking for Travis Miner, and it's no good. Good coverage out there by West Monroe. Good coverage out on the play by a number 11 for West Monroe, who did a good job, David Cole.
Third down and long yardage.
Well, they put Travis out to the left, and it was just a fly pattern for him.
They line him up in the slot on the left side, and he just tries to outrun the defensive backs. That time they had their safety way back off the line of scrimmage and had a good angle on him.
A good job by West Monroe. And now Catholic has a third down, 19 yards to go for a first down. And the ball is resting at their own 8-yard line.
Big play right here for West Monroe. They'd love to stop them here and make Catholic High punt out their own end zone and get good field position out of this.
Travis Miner is behind Major Applewhite. Applewhite takes the ball on the option. He keeps it. West Monroe get him. They get him at about the 9-yard line, about the 8-yard line, and Catholic's going to have to punt it away.
Tackled by David Hollis and Mike Kelly. 2-yard gain. Fifth down, long yardage.
He had Travis Miner coming on the option, but it was on the short side of the field. And West Monroe did a good job of coming up, and Applewhite really had no choice but to keep it.
That's a safe play there. They didn't want to make a mistake that deep and give West Monroe the football that inside the 10-yard line. Brian Williams has been punting the ball well. He's going to have the wind at his back. Gets a good punt here and let the defense stop him. West Monroe took a timeout here, so Cavalcante couldn't let the clock run down so they can get the ball back and have a little time to do something with it.
Well, we only have 2 minutes and 28 seconds to go till halftime. The Bears up 7-0, and the Bears fighting very hard tonight in West Monroe. A big crowd from Catholic High on hand, but West Monroe has a tremendous following up in this northeast Louisiana town.
Yeah, it's whether they're home or away. West Monroe brought almost 5,000 people to Lake Charles last week for the LaGrange game, and wherever they play football, it doesn't matter that the Rebel fans are going to be there dressed in Rebel flags, red, white, and blue. They got their face painted. Saw a guy downstairs with a jacket on, a pair of red, white, and blue boots. They love their football up here, and they should. They've had a fine program for several years.
They love it, and the Rebel flags are waving all over the stadium as Catholic High School comes up on a 4th down. Brian Williams goes deep into the end zone. As a matter of fact, he's standing only about 4 yards from the back of the end zone. He moves up now to the middle of the end zone. Here's the snap to Brian Williams. A good snap, and Williams kicks it out of there. Here is, looks like Williams picking it up for West Monroe at the 40-yard line. He's back to the 37.
Yeah, Kenny King on that coverage. Williams was back on the punt before. They brought Kenny King in on that one. It looks like he may stay in the game at tailback.
West Monroe has it at the 37-yard line of Catholic High School. Here's Dollar once again up to the line of scrimmage. He has Banks right there by him. And this time Dollar is calling out the signal, puts a man in motion, and then takes the ball, takes it, fakes a handoff, and throws it incomplete.
Had Kenny King open on that play. Just dropped the ball, hit him right in the hands, just dropped it.
Now, that was a good play by West Monroe. A good fake in the middle, and King was wide open, and the ball is a good pass.
For a team that doesn't throw the football a lot, they look like they've got good motion and know what they're doing when they're running their pass routes. They're getting good routes, and he's throwing good passes.
Well, I was impressed with Dollar that time. He looked very poised as he stepped back and then looked downfield and had the pass right on the money. Would have been good for about 10 yards, but King couldn't hold on to it. The crowd hollers Rebels, and the quarterback Dollar takes it, goes back to pass again. Big rush back.
Got a man open.
Man wide open for West Monroe at the 5. It's complete to the 4-yard line. First and goal for West Monroe.
Just looked like a mix-up in the coverage for Catholic High. Brian Williams had to come all the way across the field on that. Nice play by Brian Williams. A good play by West Monroe. Guy was wide open down the left side. May have been something they picked up.
There wasn't a Catholic High player within about 20 or 30 yards of that football.
No, if the ball would have been thrown sharply and crisply, that would have been a touchdown. It was a wobble to the ball. The receiver had to stop and come back to it.
But the thing that Dollar did, he realized his man was wide open, and instead of overthrowing him and leading him, he made sure that he got it to him at the 5-yard line. They still have plenty of time to go with 1 minute and 50 seconds to go to half. And here is a handoff into the middle, right at the goal line. He didn't get in, but he's close.
I don't think Tommy Banks needs any help, but his quarterback that time shoved him for 4 yards.
There's no doubt who's going to get the football when you get down into that territory for West Monroe. And you got to give it to the Rebels. They have fought back and have controlled the clock this whole
They sure
quarter.
have. You want me to call this play for you, Dennis?
Come on and do it, Rob.
I think it's going to be Tommy Banks. I know that may shock you, but I think this is going to be Tommy Banks off guard.
Dollar in a very tight formation. Takes the ball, gives it to Tommy Banks. Touchdown, West Monroe.
That's a big play right there. The pass play set that up. Catholic High's defense has played really well in the first half. They've contained Tommy Banks. You don't expect West Monroe to hit a 40-yard pass like that on you, but they came up with a big play.
Tommy Banks is 6'2", 230 pounds, and he's a load when he comes through the middle. But
he's being recruited by LSU as a linebacker, Dennis. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know that, but he'd make a good one. Here's the extra point attempt coming up. It's in the air for West Monroe. It's good. We have a tie score. Catholic 7, West Monroe 7. Set it up. His Dollar rolled back. He had a big rush on him, and I think that possibly Catholic thought that they had him back there.
I think it looked like either one of the corners or safeties that came up and blitzed on that play. It just looked like a mix-up in the coverage, and he was wide open. Brian Williams made a good play to come over there and stop him because when it was thrown, it looked like it was going to be 6.
Well, I still like the way that he threw the ball, though. Instead of trying to get it all, he just put it up to him at the 5-yard line, and the West Monroe receiver took it there. And from then, they knew they could get it in with big Banks in the backfield.
Yeah, the crowd has gotten fired back up again, Dennis, and they're loving their football here tonight at West Monroe.
Well, Catholic still has 1 minute and 10 seconds to go before halftime, and that's a lot of time for Catholic High.
Yes, it is.
Catholic tries to come back and get something.
They don't need a lot of time to score. They just need to be on the field. The Catholic High offense hasn't been on the field, but maybe 35 or 40 seconds of the whole second quarter. Aaron Boone and Travis Minor deep.
West Monroe and Catholic High School tied in a great football game from West Monroe. We wish you were here because it is a great contest.
Great atmosphere for high school football, Dennis.
Adam Beasley has the ball teed up at the 40-yard line. He's kicking with the Ouachita River on his back. He's kicking into the wind, and he puts a foot to it and sends the ball down the field to the Catholic High School 10, where Travis Minor takes it. West Monroe comes up and makes the tackle at the 25.
A lot better drive covered by West Monroe that time. Their guys stayed in their lanes, stayed home, and made the play there.
Kevin Coates made the tackle for the Rebels. First and 10. There to the 25-yard line.
Look for Catholic High to try and move the ball here, Dennis, and try and set something up here in the last minute of the first half. They got a good kicker in Greg Brown. If they can pick up about 45 or 50 yards, you may see him on the field.
Well, you've been right all night, Rob, and so here now is Major Applewhite taking the football. He's going to hand it off to Minor. Minor slowed in the backfield, and then down he goes at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, that was Keith Carter again blitzing on the play and slowed him down.
Second down, 10 yards to go.
Well, he just got a piece of Minor in the backfield, and that's all the West Monroe defense needed to come up and finish off the tackle. The clock continues to run. Catholic has 39 seconds to go in the first half. That's all the time they have to do something with it before we move into the halftime show. Major Applewhite, wide receivers left and right, takes the ball, has a big rush coming on him, gets away and throws it down the field. It's intercepted by West Monroe. Intercepted at the 35-yard line.
He was trying to get it to Zach Bendorvis on that play. It was a tough throw. He threw against his body while he was rolling out. Bendorvis was open, but the West Monroe defensive back just stepped right in front of him and took it.
Michael John Leonard came up to make that interception. He's a 6'1", 185-pound junior from West Monroe. And he did a great job. He sat back there, waited till Applewhite let go of the football, and came up and made an easy interception.
Yeah, nice play by the defensive back from West Monroe. Calvacai's defense here needs to step up and hold them out. They haven't made any field goals all year. Look for them to maybe try and throw another pass, see if they can't get another broken coverage.
There's only 20 seconds left on the clock. Dollar has a wide receiver out to the left and also out to the right. He has Banks in his usual position and throws out here to the left. Complete down to about the 30-yard line, and so they'll get 6 yards, and then quickly West Monroe calls for a timeout.
Timeout, Rebels.
Yeah, Corey McClellan and Aaron Boone on the stop on that play. Good play by the Bears, cornerbacks on that play.
The clock is all the way down to 13 seconds, and so probably West Monroe is going to have about 2 plays here, Rob.
2 plays. I think that you may see them try and throw about a 15 or 20-yard play, get another time. I think they have a timeout left, and see if they can't get their first field goal of the season.
A very big play as far as momentum goes in this football game. Catholic led 7-0, and then the big pass play and the touchdown by West Monroe, and now they have a chance to take the lead at halftime. And what a tremendous momentum that would be for
this is big for Calvacai and West Monroe. West Monroe can score here. They get the ball first in the second half, and the way they've been running the football, you don't want to go in at the half down and then the team you're down to get the football to start the second half. Calvacai makes a stop here. It's a totally different game when you come out in the second half. It's still 7-7. West Monroe doesn't have that edge that they got. The big, 2.5 minutes ago, this was a 7-0 game. Calvacai.
That's exactly right. And this crowd doesn't need very much to get it fired.
No, they don't need a whole lot, Dennis.
All right, here's Stephen Dollar coming up to the line of scrimmage. He has Banks right there with him right close, and he is going to fake to Banks and then let it go long down the field. Incomplete.
Should have been 6. Got Kenny King right in the hands, Dennis. That should have been 6.
The ball just a touch long, but he could have caught it down about the 5-yard line, and if he would have caught it, he would have taken it right into the end zone for a touchdown.
Pretty good coverage by Calvacai on that play. Just a really good pass by the quarterback. Laid it up over the defensive backs where only Kenny King can make the play on it. Got him right on the fingertips and just couldn't come up with the catch.
That was a great pass by Dollar, and it makes you really puzzled as to why West Monroe doesn't throw the ball more.
Their coaches said they really haven't needed to. The guys that they played, really haven't stopped their running game. Calvacai's done a pretty good job of stopping and running the first half. There haven't been any real, really long runs by West Monroe.
That's a great reason not to throw it if you don't have to. Here's a handoff to the deep back, who takes it to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 7. There's no time on the clock. I think the half is going to be over. Let's see. The Catholic High bench is heading to the locker room. I don't believe there's any time on the clock. There was 1 second when he went down, but it went to 0-0. The half is over, 7-7. A big break for Catholic that the clock ran out. It's 7-7 at half. Catholic High 7, West Monroe 7. Get ready, get ready. Let's go down to the field now. And Gene Ponte.
All right, Dennis, what a great football game so far. I've got Scott Stone, the offensive coordinator with the Rebels, whose team has really turned it around emotionally in the last probably 12 minutes or so, Scott.
Well, you're absolutely right. We've turned it up another level, and hopefully we can continue to play this way. If we have a chance to beat them, we're going to have to play above our heads, and we knew that coming into the game.
You guys have already passed 5 times here in the first half, which is probably more than you've done in the last 3 games. Are they forcing you to do that?
Well, they're just giving us the opportunity to do that. We've been behind them a couple of times. We missed a long one, then we dropped it. That one right there before half. We're going to have to do more of the same. We got to back them off for the option to work.
Great football game so far, Scott. All right, everybody. What more could you ask for? We're 7-7 at the break. Dennis, back up to you.
Once again at Rebel Stadium in West Monroe, Louisiana. It's 7-7, Catholic 7, and West Monroe 7, and we will be back after these messages with some halftime analysis and also interviews from Rebel Stadium in West Monroe. Rebel Stadium in West Monroe as the halftime is just about over. The Bears and the Rebels of West Monroe are back on the field. The Rebels down in the end zone on one end and the Bears on the other. We just saw the Bears, and now here is West Monroe. Now, West Monroe is down on the Washita River side, and they will be Getting ready for today's second half kickoff. Here come the Bears back to the bench now. They were just about set for some action. Now, Rob, I'll tell you what, there was an interesting interview with Joe, because Joe made a great point. The fact that Catholic High couldn't get into the offense because they were facing long yardage on several occasions.
On second down, and Joe is decided to stay around and call a little bit of the second half with it. Joe, Dennis wasn't available in the first half. Kind of reiterate what you said, why Catholic High is finding themselves in those positions after first down.
West Monroe's been doing a lot of stunting on defense. A couple of times we've caught them and broken an 8-10-yard play. Travis has gotten outside a couple of times. But on the times when we drop back to pass in this situation, West Monroe's been able to catch Major in the backfield. We've had a few problems getting the ball off and getting thrown for big losses.
What does Catholic High have to do, Joe, to get the offense back on the field in the second half?
Well, let's hope in this first series we can maybe get 3 downs and out, get the offense back out while we're fresh, get some good field position, too. There were times in the first half where we didn't really have good field position to open it up. So hopefully we get good field position here in our first drive the second half and get something going.
Joe, what do you think on defense? Is Catholic's going to open up on defense to start this second half? Do you think they'll come up and try to play banks, or do you think they'll stay in their formation on defense that they were in the whole first half?
I don't know, man. We had pretty good success in the first half with the defense we were in. I think Coach Garrett probably talked to the right side a little bit, like we mentioned at halftime. And he probably talked a little bit to the defensive backs, too, about the passing game. But we were pretty successful. We only gave up 7 points the first half. So I would expect we'd just try to tighten up our belts a little bit and stick with the same defense we want.
What happened on the long pass that the West Monroe receiver was wide open at the 5-yard line?
The cornerback closest to the press box, guy close, Brian Williams made a hell of an effort to get over and catch the wide receiver, but there was a play fake, made it look like a bootleg pass, looked like a sweep, cornerback sucked up, and receiver got behind it.
Catholic High School will be kicking off to the Rebels of West Monroe. It's 7-7. We're at Rebel Stadium in West Monroe. Rob, we're about ready to go now. 1 half to go for one of these teams. The other one will win tonight's game, and they'll be in the Superdome next week to play for the state championship.
We haven't got any scores on the Jesuit-Karen Crow game tonight, but a lot of people have thought it would be a Catholic High-Karen Crow rematch, but all 4 of these teams that are left at this stage of the game, anybody can make it down there, and any of these teams can win a state championship. West Monroe has as good a chance as anybody else.
Seems like Jesuit is the big surprise in the playoffs
Went down to Central Lafourche last week, spoke with Randy Bro early in the week. It was really 10-0 game till late in the fourth quarter. A couple of late scores made it look that way, but they did a good job against a good Central Lafourche football team.
Okay, Greg Brown now will kick it off for Catholic High. Kenny King is deep for for the Rebels of West Monroe. Here's Brown waiting for the okay from the officials. He gets it, and now Brown motions to his team that he's ready. And here comes Greg forward. Kickoff is coming down to the up man for West Monroe, and he takes it and moves it back to the 25, to the 30, and here he comes out to the 37-yard line.
Creedell Williams on the carry for West Monroe. Wasn't a lot there. He really made that on his own. Good coverage by Catholic High. Guy stopped him. Didn't have to depend on the kicker. Looked like Aaron Boone on the stop.
Well, let's see what West Monroe does. They have great field position to start the second half. The Rebels have the ball at the 37-yard line, and Dollar brings up the Rebels to the line of scrimmage. West Monroe in that deep blue tonight, in navy blue with the red stripes and the white numbers, and the quarterback takes and then pitches it back to Williams, who brings it up to about the 40-yard line, and a gain of about 2.5 to 3 yards.
Joe, what type defense is Catholic High running here? They did a good job of stringing that play up. What exactly are they lining up, and what are they doing out of this set?
We're running a 4 front, and our linebackers are doing a good job there, picking up the quarterback. Cornerback was on the pitch man. Again, they ran to our right side, if you notice that time, and our players were in position to make the play.
Catholic High School on defense, and then trying to defend their goal line with a second down. 7 yards to go. West Monroe at their own 40-yard line. Here is Dollar with Banks right up there on him. He'll probably get it, and he does. And he takes the ball for a first down out to midfield. Just went straight ahead with it, Joe.
That went to the left side again and found our weakness, evidently.
Offensive line was doing a good job of just getting him something to run through, and he's just doing the rest of it on its own.
What they're doing there is they're doubling down on our tackle. The left guard and left tackle are both doubling down on our tackle, and the fullback's hitting right outside.
West Monroe in that familiar tight formation. Look how far the tailback is back. He's out of the picture. He's so far back. But Banks is right behind the quarterback. And he is going to get it again. This time he'll move it down the field for about 3 yards. And West Monroe will have a second down and 7 yards to go.
That was a nice play by Clay Bostic there, Dennis. Fought off the blocker and made the play on his own solo tackle for Clay.
Yeah, Bostic had a lot of heat on him there, but he fought it off and made a good tackle and held Banks to only 3 yards. Here's a little different formation for West Monroe now as they have 2 running backs. And the handoff goes out there to Williams, who takes it down to the 41.
Williams on the carry, tackled by 38, Keegan Williams.
Williams on the tackle also for Catholic High School. They'll spot that ball at about the 42-yard line. And so it'll be 3rd down and 2 yards to go for West Monroe. You look for Banks to get it here, Rob?
I take my chances.
Banks right behind the quarterback, Dollar. Tight formation for West Monroe. Catholic digs in. Banks gets it. Banks has a first down. Banks is down to the 35. First down for West Monroe.
Joe, it's nothing fancy. Banks lines up 1 yard behind the quarterback and they hand him the football.
They're lining up and just challenging us. And if they keep having that kind of success, they're going to keep moving the football.
He's a load coming through the line, isn't he, Joe?
He's a real big fullback. He doesn't have that much speed. He's got great balance, and he reads his holes well.
You know, we've noticed that he's falling forward all the time and picking up that extra 2 yards as he goes down.
He keeps his legs moving.
Here's Dollar once again. This time he fakes and wants to throw the ball. Throws it downfield over a receiver that overthrows his receiver at about the 3-yard line. Incomplete. And that was a surprise.
Play by Williams and Shanklin. Both of them had him covered. Would have had to be a great play for that to go anywhere.
It was great coverage. The ball was just barely overthrown, but they had great coverage on him.
You know, guys, as long as they keep doing that, our defensive backs aren't going to be able to come up as fast to help support the run. So that may be why he's throwing the ball, just to keep our defensive backs back in coverage so they can keep the opposite getting going.
West Monroe trying to keep Catholic honest with that last play, and this time they come up with those 2 running backs in the backfield, and the quarterback takes the ball and hands it off up the middle. Good gain coming here for West Monroe on 2nd down. The Rebels are only 3 yards short of another first down, and that was Banks again.
I have a good feeling this is what West Monroe scripted in the locker room. This is what they want to do. Use a lot of time, move the ball down the field, keep the Catholic High offense off the field.
8 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. 7-7. West Monroe. Catholic High 7. Here's Dollar now. Dollar with Banks right behind him. Banks gets it again, and he's right at the first down marker.
I think he's got it by about a length of the ball, Dennis. He hit right on the 25-yard line. Only had to go to about the 25 and a half.
I tell you, the West Monroe crowd thought that he got a very bad mark there, a bad spot.
It looked like he came down on the 25. Maybe a knee touched early, but it looked like he was in the air, Joe.
He's going to be short of the first down. He'll have just less than a yard to go for a first down. 4th down, a short one to go for West Monroe.
Big play for the Catholic High defense here, Dennis. Be a big stock for the Bears.
It's a huge play. Here's Dollar. Banks is close to him. Banks wants the football. Banks has it. Banks has a first down. West Monroe is still on the move. Joe, it's hard to keep them from getting those 2 yards there, isn't it?
I can't believe that you wouldn't know who was running the football and where they were running the football on a 3rd and short, 4th and short situation. They're going to keep exploiting that left side until we stop it.
Let's see what Dollar does this time. Dollar is doing a good job running this West Monroe offense as he takes the ball and he keeps it, and he gets about 4 yards for West Monroe. They'll give him 5, and the Rebels will have a 2nd down and 5 situation, and they are inside the Catholic 20-yard line. The ball's being spotted at about the 17.
Gain of 5, 2nd down and 5 to go.
There's nothing fancy about this West Monroe offense. Joe, they just keep coming at you. All right, Catholic High looks like they're tightening up a little bit on defense with a tighter defense now as Dollar comes up to the line of scrimmage. He has Banks right there behind him, and Banks takes it again. He moves inside the 15. He is down to about the 14 and about 2 yards short of a 1st down.
Another big 3rd down play. Let's see if they go with the fullback over the left side again.
Well, there's one thing you can count on here, Joe, and that is that West Monroe knows they have 2 downs to pick it up and not just 1.
Exactly.
3rd down, short yardage.
Banks, you can tell, is just poised to take the football. He does. He's a fake to Banks this time, and the quarterback keeps the ball and moves it close to a 1st down. That was a good fake.
They had Banks stopped on that play. That was a good job by the quarterback because it had brought up a 4th down. He may have lost a yard on that play. Banks was stopped.
Joe, how does the quarterback maneuver a play like that? He puts it in Banks's tummy there, and he either takes the ball or he keeps it, but it's hard to avoid a fumble in that situation, isn't it?
The quarterback's actually reading the defensive man. If the defensive man comes down to tackle the fullback, then the quarterback will pull the ball and go outside. If the defensive man penetrates up the field, then the quarterback's going to give the ball to the fullback underneath.
So the quarterback is the man calling the shots there.
The quarterback's reading that defensive man, and he goes opposite what the defensive man makes the decision to do.
Dennis, they got a 1st down by about the length of the ball, but during that break, we got a score that Karen Crow's beating Jesuit 24-0 at the end of the 3rd quarter.
Well, that's what we suspected. Karen Crow looks like they're on their way to the Superdome. And now there's only one more position, one more spot open down there, and it's going to be either Catholic or West Monroe. Karen Crow with a big 24-0 lead over Jesuit of New Orleans. That's at the end of the 3rd quarter, as Rob mentioned.
Yeah, Catholic High beat Karen Crow earlier in the year. Karen Crow struggled a little bit in district. A good district that put 6 teams in the playoffs, but still, for a Karen Crow team to go in, and I think, Joe, they went in as maybe a 4th seed out of that district. They've just really turned it on in the playoffs.
Did Karen Crow have any injuries toward the end of the season? Because it looked like they faded, and now they're coming back again.
I don't know about injuries. I know this. We saw both of those teams play earlier in the year, and I definitely think Karen Crow was a better team.
Okay, here comes West Monroe, a big series for them. Quarterback takes the ball and then pitches it to Williams, who takes it into the end zone for a touchdown for West Monroe.
Good read by Dollar. That's the play he needed to make there. Got the pitch. The guy got outside. There was a Catholic guy out there. They got a good block. He just cut away from him and took it into the end zone.
You know, Rob, that running back Williams is a good running back. Did you see the moves he made there?
He's done really well for him.
But the quarterback did a great job.
And punts for him, but that was a good read by Dollar. Dollar made that play.
Here comes the extra point attempt for West Monroe. They're already ahead 13-7, trying to make it a touchdown and an extra point lead. And the extra point is good. It's West Monroe 14, Catholic 7.
The last thing we needed was for West Monroe to get a lead because this press box was shaking all night. I'm getting ready to think it's about to tilt on us, Dennis.
But there's really, there's not a back to where we're sitting, and we're on very top of the press box.
The only back here is about 100 feet down, and it's asphalt.
Catholic High now falls behind 14-7, and the Bears, it's real important that they try to answer that touchdown to start in the middle of the 3rd quarter. Already into the 3rd quarter with 5 minutes and 51 seconds left.
They just ran off more than half of the 3rd quarter, so we definitely need to do something as far as moving the football and putting some points on the board.
Well, Catholic really never looked like they were going to stop them that time, and when when they can keep it in a short yardage situation, West Monroe will be tough all night.
Catholic High won't lose their composure. They were down last week, played really well in the second half, came back, won a football game late, played a close game. They played a close game last week against good competition. Be a lot of composure on the Catholic High sidelines here.
Travis Minor and Aaron Boone are standing back at the 5-yard line for Catholic. Adams is ready to kick it off for West Monroe. Here comes a kickoff. It's a low kick that's going to be heading toward Boone, and Boone takes it at the 2, comes out across the field to the 5. West Monroe gets him at the 6-yard line. What a big play by West Monroe.
That was Chess Hill that ran him down at the 6, and he showed good speed because Aaron Boone's not slow.
Well, the ball hit on the ground and bounced down toward the sideline. Boone grabbed it just inside the 5, ran across the field looking for some blocking. He was trying to get a wall set up on the other side of the field, but the wall, he never got to the block.
Yeah, West Monroe ought to think about getting Chess Hill on their track team because Aaron Boone was 3rd in the state last year in 100 meters, and Chess Hill ran him down.
Great job by West Monroe, and now Catholic High School has got to get something going and get some better field position here.
That's something I mentioned at halftime, the fact that the first half we didn't have real good field position most of the time. We definitely didn't want to start inside our own 10-yard line the first time we got the ball in the second half.
I don't know what the discussion is down here, Rob. It looks like Catholic's going to be guilty of an infraction.
We never got a signal. Personal foul.
Penalty called against Catholic. They penalized half the distance of the goal. They'll play 1st and 10 from the 3.
Well, it makes it even worse. 1st and 10 for Catholic from their own 3-yard line, and this crowd in West Monroe is on their feet. Over 12,000 people at Rebel Stadium as the Catholic High team comes roaring out and gets about 5 yards on the first down as Minor takes the ball and moves it across the 5-yard line to about the 6-yard line.
Second down and 6.
Catholic just trying to get a little running room so that they'll have a lot of options on what to do here.
Yeah, they need to get a few first downs so they can kind of open up the playbook and go with a few things. Down here, you just don't want to make a mistake down a touchdown here.
You don't want to turn it over here for sure. Here is Major Applewhite handing off. And there is a good run by the Catholic High runner. It's Minor with the football, and he's taking it down the right side all the way out to the 35-yard line, and that's what Catholic needed. Out to the 35 and a first down for Catholic.
Joe, he does such a good job of not being hit, not being tackled by the first guy that gets a hand on him. That play right there should have been stopped for a 4 or 5-yard game at the most. He takes it for 25.
That's another situation where it shows you if you just keep your legs moving and keep pumping, you can get the action. He was a shirt tail away from going the distance that time.
Here's Anders coming out to this side. Applewhite calling the signals. He has Minor. He has Campese up by him. He's going to take the ball again and give it to Minor. Minor tries to make it to the right side. He has the ball and doing a good job of breaking tackles. Moves into West Monroe territory and moves that football all the way down to the 45 of the Rebels. Beautiful run by Minor.
Yeah, just a great run. Travis Minor, I think, got a little spark here in this drive. Travis Minor's running the ball real hard. Doesn't have a lot of hole there to work with, but he's making things happen. He's making people miss. Catholic High's got a first down. You know, 30 seconds ago, they're at their own 3. Now they're at the 46 of West Monroe.
That was all Travis that time. Coach Winer's taking him out, giving him a little blow. Aaron Boone's in the tailback now.
Well, Minor looked like he was on a mission on that run. Let's see what Catholic does now. Major Applewhite calls the signals and then hands off straight ahead, but nothing doing right there. Campese is stacked up at the line of scrimmage.
Campese carries. Tackled by Monroe.
Good job by West Monroe in the middle that time, and it was almost as if they were looking for Campese that time.
regardless of what happens on this drive, Catholic High's got a little bit of field position back. They've got to punt it here. They can get West Monroe deep. West Monroe, you want them to go 90 yards, they may make that mistake, but when they've only got to go 50 or 55, it's a lot easier for their offense to move the football.
Bud Kleinpeter out to the right, and Blackstone this way. Travis Miner has the football. Travis Miner has the 40. Travis Miner has a Catholic High first down. He has the ball at the 35 of West Monroe, and the Bears are on the move.
We caught the linebacker stunting on the inside that time. Travis bounced the ball outside. There was no run support outside the end to help.
12-yard gain. First down. Here we go from the 35.
Dennis, this is about the longest that the West Monroe defense has been on the field tonight.
Well, let's hope maybe that Catholic can keep that good field position. Let's come back and answer the touchdown that West Monroe's put on the board in this third quarter. 3 minutes, 19 seconds to go.
It's not going to be easy. West Monroe's got a good defense, but the Catholic High offense seems to have something going here.
Applewhite to Miner. Miner to the 30. Miner just inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. And a gain of 6 yards on the play. Now they'll spot it back at the 30, so it'll be 2nd down and 5 for Catholic. Travis Miner's running hard.
If my math's correct, we've driven the ball now for about 65, 66 yards, and I think Travis has got all of it.
It's basically the same play they've been running. Looks like it's just like a delayed handoff, and he's picking his spot and going upfield with it, Joe.
We call that a counter sweep. Backside Jordan tackle pull to the play side.
Here's Blackstone out this way, and Brian Williams out to the right. Travis Miner behind Campese. This time, Miner is stopped for no gain. Might have lost about a half a yard.
Miner on the carry. He's stopped by Terrence Bell and Mike Tuck.
Looked like about 3 or 4 guys from West Monroe had that play in their helmets before it was run. They were in the backfield, and we're almost there when Travis got the handoff.
Big play in the contest. It's 3rd down. Just over 5 yards to go for a West Monroe first down. 1 minute 56 to go. 1 minute 54 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Could be the little out pattern to Williams here. He's lined up in a slot again. Looks like the same formation they ran earlier in the game.
Applewhite on the option and then picks it to Miner. Miner is stopped at about the 29-yard line. And Catholic will be facing a 4th down situation. 4th down and 4 yards to go.
Joe, do you go here or do you pin them deep?
Knowing Coach Quanah the way I do, having worked with him for 10 years, I guarantee you he's going for a 4th down.
4 yards to go.
Well, Catholic's definitely going for it. Applewhite had gone to the bench to get the play. He's back in the game now. And here comes Blackstone out here. He's coming out with Williams. Both of them out on the left side. Applewhite calling the signals. Applewhite going back to pass, rolling out to his left, looking downfield, and then lofting it up to a receiver. The ball is knocked away, incomplete.
I think that's going to be holding on the West Monroe defensive back. There's a flag at about the 20, and I think they held Pendarvis when he was coming off the line of scrimmage. Look for a defensive hold here on West Monroe.
The flag is on the ground at the 20-yard line in the West Monroe secondary, about 5 yards, about 10 yards down the field.
Catholic High's clapping, so it looks like it's a penalty against West Monroe here.
Holding card against the Rebels.
Yeah, they had Pendarvis by the jersey about 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, and actually he would have been more open than that. When Applewhite saw him, the guy still had a hold on his jersey, Joe.
Great call again, Rob. Pendarvis trying to get down the field was held, and what a big play that was, because it gives Catholic new life as the Bears have the ball at the 19-yard line of West Monroe.
Actually, Dennis, that's not a bad play by the West Monroe defensive back, because if he doesn't grab him, there's no one within 10 yards of Zach Pendarvis, and that's a touchdown for Catholic High.
It would have been a hard pass, though, for Applewhite to throw back that way. Rolling to the left, but still, he was breaking wide open. Here's Applewhite now. Takes the football. Hands off to Miner. Miner is stopped for no gain.
They don't seem to be getting a whole lot on the left side of the offensive line, Joe. Is it just something they're doing? The West Monroe's doing? Are they overloading that side? It seems like he's getting more production on the right side.
That time my left guard just got beat by the guy in front of him.
Loss of 1. 2nd down and 11.
2nd down, 11 yards to go as they spotted a yard behind the line of scrimmage. And now Catholic has a 2nd down and 11. The Bears are going to send Blackstone. They're going to send Brian Williams out to the right this time.
He's in the slot again.
Williams is in the slot. Here's Applewhite looking out that way, rolling, and then dumping it off to Minor. Minor is going to be caught and pulled down.
Big play here, Rick. It's going to be 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. West Monroe 14, Catholic 7. Let's go down on the field now to Gene Ponte.
Boy, Dennis, what a great 3rd quarter of football, and one that has been dominated by the offenses. As we saw, West Monroe dominated the first 6.5 minutes going down the field for the score. Catholic High has come back and done the same over the last 5.5 minutes as we go to the 4th quarter. I'll give you an interesting statistic. West Monroe, when leading going into the 4th quarter, they're a perfect 11-0. We'll see what happens over the next couple of minutes. Back up to y'all.
Thanks, Gene. We'll be back right after this.
This is the TCI High School Game of the Week, brought to you by Mushmack Photography, the official photographer of the Louisiana High School Coaches Association, Louisiana High School Athletic Association, and all of its state championship events. Call John or Rob today for your sports picture needs at 292-1858. Reebok. Reebok Team Sports wants you to remember that life is short, so play hard. Protective Insurance Plus. Dean and Remy Brignac are proud sponsors of the TCI Game of the Week and want to remind you to call 291-8800 for all your insurance needs. Jerry Lane Enterprises. At Jerry Lane Enterprises, we've got everything you can imagine, so why shop anywhere else? With 3 locations on Florida Boulevard. McMakin Financial. Jesse Daigle and Mickey Guidry, registered investment advisors for financial, estate, and employee planning. Call McMakin Financial at 926-9585. Specialty Plastics. Specialty Plastics of Baton Rouge, manufacturers of fiberbound fiberglass and advanced composite piping systems. Hooters. We would like to thank Hooters for supplying this year's Press Box hospitality. Visit Hooters on College Drive in Baton Rouge.
Let's see. Now that the upgrading of our cable system with fiber is complete, TCI has a lot more choices. I mean, we're going from 38 channels to 78, which means more quality programming, more choices, better picture quality, and reliability. Quality and quantity. I like that.
It's been a lot of good times in this lake. A lot of good memories.
Yeah, and now that you're retired, you can spend a lot more.
That's why they call these the golden years.
But how did you know you were ready? Financially, I mean.
I got hooked up with a good investment planner a few years ago. We determined some goals, and when I got my lump sum from the company, it all fell into place.
Sounds like you took pretty good care of you.
Yes, it's smooth sailing from here on out. Did I ever tell you about that 14-pound bass I caught?
Yeah, a time or two.
Oh, get over it.
Making financial.
Go on.
Hi, I'm Dean Brignac.
And I'm Remy Brignac. We played football for the Panthers.
And now we own Protective Insurance Plus, a corporate sponsor of the TCI High School Football Game of the Week.
For all your auto, health, home, life insurance needs, call 291-8800. That's 291-8800.
Hey, Remy, wasn't it great playing football for the Panthers?
Brother, I had a ball.
LHSAA Sherwood across from Audubon Ford.
Catholic High football. Its success depends on all 3 phases of the game. Offense, defense, and special teams meshing together to conquer the competition and ensure victory. Specialty Plastics Incorporated takes the same approach with fiberbond, fiberglass, and advanced composites piping systems. Marketing, engineering, and manufacturing meshing together to provide a turnkey product to conquer its competition and ensure victory. Contact Catholic High Graduates Vice President Rick Lee, class of 77, and Head of Engineering Kevin Schmidt, class of 88, at 752-2705.
Down, 10 yards to go for Catholic. Go to Rebel 19.
Welcome back to West Monroe as we start the fourth quarter. 14-7. The Bears trail West Monroe. The Bears have it at the 19-yard line. Third down. 11 yards to go. Applewhite looking, trying to get it to Williams in the end zone. The ball's in the air and it's tipped away in the end zone. No good. Well, Catholic went for it all, Rob.
Yeah, good coverage by West Monroe on that play, Cal. That's been a real successful play for Catholic High most of the season. Just, Joe, is that just a corner out that Brian Williams runs off the line of scrimmage?
That's a bootleg route almost, although he actually sprinted out. That's one of the routes that run off a bootleg. I thought Brian did a heck of a job playing defense on that play and knocking the ball away from the defensive back.
Okay, Greg Brown is in the game. Catholic's going to try to get 3 right here. It'll be about a 36-yard field goal. And then it's going to be snapped instead and thrown to the end zone for a touchdown with their flags on the field.
There were 2 people in motion on that play. I think that was going to come back.
Quarterback Major Applewhite, after he motioned to Buddy Kleinpe to go off the field, which actually was a trick for him to go in motion, and Major took 2 or 3 steps back. At that point, you had the receiver running off the field in motion and Major stepping back in motion.
Well, now Catholic's going to have it 4th down and 16 yards to go, and it's going to back them up, and it'll make it a long field goal if Brown, or if Dale Weiner decides to put Brown in to try this field goal. Ball's moved back to the 24. That would make it about a 41-yard field goal.
Catholic going to take a timeout here, Dennis.
We're going to bring them 4th down, 15 to go.
Timeout for the Catholic High School Bears. Dale Weiner has his team on the sideline and is going to talk this 4th down play over. It's a beautiful night for football. We are in West Monroe, Louisiana. As you look at the Catholic High School bench, and this is a big, big play in this contest coming up because the Bears trail 14-7. There's 11 minutes, 50 seconds to go in the ball game. Karen Crow up 24-0 on their way to the Superdome, and the Bears trying to overcome this touchdown lead and tie this contest up.
Big play here, Dennis. Catholic High really needs to get some points on the board here. They've had a nice drive. They brought it from their own 3 to here at the 24-yard line of West Monroe. Nice play they just ran, just 2 men in motion on the play. Like Joe said, they had the guy go in motion, but Major took a couple of steps backwards. We put 2 men in motion. That's why you got the penalty. The play was open, but that's one I don't think you're going to be able to run again against West Monroe. I think they may know that may be coming.
Well, you guys are doing a great job of analyzing the game. I mean, you had that one down again and caught Catholic in the motion situation. It was a good pass.
Big play here, Dennis. You really don't have any other choice here than to go for that. You're looking at about a 41 or 42-yard field goal.
Yeah, it'd be about a 41-yard field goal.
Greg's got a good foot, and the wind's not as strong as it was earlier in his back. That may be something you'd do if the wind was a little bit stronger. He's got a great leg.
Catholic's going to go for it. Major Applewhite with one receiver out wide, and he throws it out there deep. West Monroe goes up and tips it away.
That's Chess Hill again. Chess Hill's come up with 2 big plays in this half. He knocked that pass down, also caught Aaron Boone on the kickoff return earlier in the half.
Looks like that pass was intended for Batson out there. But West Monroe did a great job. These West Monroe backs are really good at just staying back there and going up and knocking the ball down. They're not trying to pick it off on a lot of occasions.
The receiver that time was one of our high jumpers in track. So what Dale was trying to do was get him out there and let him go one-on-one with that guy and try to out-jump him for the ball.
Well, these backs from West Monroe a little taller than Shaw's backs last week, and he was able to go up and knock it down. All right, Dollar's got West Monroe back on offense, and look at this play. Look at Banks run to the 40, to the 36-yard line. First down, West Monroe.
Same play we've been seeing all night long, Dennis. Just a dive play that he got into the secondary on. Good thing Catholic High has the speed in the defensive backfield to run him down, and that would have been a touchdown.
41
Banks showed a little spurt of speed that time as he stepped into the secondary. Those first 5 or 6 steps were very quick. First down on a big, huge drive for West Monroe because there's 11 minutes, 25 seconds to go in the ball game, and the clock is ticking. The clock's ticking away at 11:19. Here is Dollar now going to take it and hand it to Williams, the deep back. Williams takes it to the 32. He'll have about 4 yards on the play and bring up a 2nd and 6. Now Williams looks like he's shaking up a little
bit. We'll see if we can't get Gene to get a report there. He's having trouble getting off the field.
3-yard gain, 2nd down, 7 to go.
They just brought in Monroe Hill, a guy we heard a lot about before we got up here. Dennis, this really might be the first time we've seen him all night.
Yeah, I was kind of confused about that, but he's back now in that deep position.
He's even deeper than Williams was.
He sure is. Here is Dollar now, and I'll tell you, the tailback is at least 13 yards deep. But it's going to Banks anyway, and Banks takes it inside the 30, has it almost down to the 29, at about the 29.5, and he'll still have about 4 yards to go for a first down. They spotted at the 30, so he'll have exactly 4 yards to go for a first down.
You know, if you weren't familiar with the West Monroe offense, you'd think they'd be lining up for a punt almost every time they come out. It almost looks like a punt formation.
Montrell Lynn in the ball game for the first time that we've noticed in a while for West Monroe. He is exactly 13 yards behind the line of scrimmage and now goes 14 yards behind the line of scrimmage. But Tommy Banks is right there behind Dollar, and Dollar has the ball, fakes it to Banks, keeps it. Dollar has a first down for West Monroe at the 25-yard line.
Dollar's rushed the ball this year for almost 500 yards, so he keeps it quite often. He's got almost 100 rushes, gets about 5 yards a carry on the season, which is what he's got most of the night, 4, 5, 6 yards whenever he decides to keep it.
Joe, it looks like West Monroe's opening up a hole on that right side as he fakes it.
Looks like our defense came out of sleep this time. We need to buckle down and get back in the ball game here on defense.
Montrell Lynn, a guy we talked about earlier, he averages 9 yards a carry, and why he hasn't played more tonight, I don't know, but they didn't say anything about an injury.
Here's Banks with the football, and Banks is going to go airborne to the 14-yard line, and another West Monroe first down.
The report I got on Williams is that he fumbled the ball a little bit. They were concerned about his fumble. They put the other kid in. The other kid's had a good game tonight.
They have 2 good tailbacks, and what can you say about Banks? Boy, he's everything that we heard about him before we got here.
And more, and more. And he doesn't look like he gets tired.
I was just getting ready to say the same thing, Rob. He looks like he's just as fresh as when we started. Look at him run the football. Here, he goes down to the 5-yard line. First down for West Monroe.
Kavakai really needs something big here to happen. A turnover, a holding call. Needs something to happen good for him here. They've just been pinned back all the second half. West Monroe's been driving the football down the field. Looks like he might have another first down here. You don't want to give him 4 cracks at it inside the 5-yard line.
Well, we're going to get a measurement. But if he doesn't have it, he's only an inch short. Looks like to me that he has it, though. I don't know. It's going to be real close.
Dennis, this just says a lot about the high school football in the state of Louisiana. There's been so many kids come out of Louisiana over the years and go on to big schools and have success. Kavakai is ranked 10th in the country and worthy of every bit of that, if not more. West Monroe tonight, Shaw last week. These teams playing with them. To me, if Kavakai is 10, you got to put West Monroe and Shaw in there with them. These guys just play great football, and it's just great for the state of Louisiana to have this kind of football being played.
I'll tell you what, Banks runs the ball just like Spencer from Ouachita. He's up in Notre Dame. He looks exactly like that big runner that Ouachita had a few years ago. Dollar brings his West Monroe Rebels to the line of scrimmage. First down, goal to go for West Monroe. Banks in the end zone. Touchdown, West Monroe. Look at this crowd, Rob. They've been just as high-pitched all night, and boy,
I don't think they sit down. I don't think they sit down for a fight. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody in the stadium is sitting down but us.
And we sure don't want to lean back.
No, we don't. And I'll stay seated right here until someone comes get me off the top of the press box.
The extra point coming for West Monroe. It's good. West Monroe, 21. Catholic 7.
Joe, what is Catholic High here to do here over the last 8 minutes to get a score on the board and get back in the ball game?
We're going to have to come up with a big play, score quick, and hopefully get the ball back from West Monroe. 8 minutes and 19 seconds is not a lot of time the way West Monroe keeps the football. Us being 2 touchdowns ahead. But we need to score quick.
Catholic High in dire need of a quick score because they trail 21-7. 8 minutes, 19 seconds left at Rebel Stadium in West Monroe. Dennis McCain with Rob Mushmak and also Joe LeBlanc from Catholic High doing a great job joining us up here in the press box, or on top of the press box, I should say.
And I hope we remain on top of the press box.
West Monroe still on the sideline getting some last-minute instructions as they get ready to kick off to Catholic. And you can bet that West Monroe does not want Minor to touch this kickoff.
Attention, Randy Cole, please report to the press box. Randy Cole, please report to the press box.
Travis Minor and Boone are deep for Catholic High School as usual. Minor's on this side of the field and Boone to the far side.
You know, Dennis, and looking around the stadium, I don't think there's any place on this campus that you can put another person tonight. I think every seat, every standing room spot, everything has been sold out. It's been like this since there were people getting here 2 hours before the game. There were people sitting in the stands, and we were doing some pregame stuff, and it just hasn't calmed down ever since.
It's been the exact same atmosphere since about an hour and a half before kickoff, actually. I mean, and then about 30 minutes before kickoff, the cheerleaders got the crowd moving for West Monroe. They all got on their feet. It was very loud on the field as we were down there earlier. And this crowd is a tremendous crowd and a great football fans in Northeast Louisiana.
We just got a final. Karen Crow's going to the Superdome. They beat Jesuit 24-14.
Here's the kickoff coming down, bobbled for Catholic High and then picked up and brought straight down the middle of the field. West Monroe gets down and knocks down Travis Minor.
Yeah, David Cole on the stop there did a good job getting through the wedge.
Yeah, he did a great job and then pulls Minor down at the 26. And here comes the series, maybe one of the big series of the year, for sure a big series of the year. Catholic has to get points on the board this time.
Yeah, big difference. Catholic High was down 14 points last week, but it was early and they had a chance to do some things. Catholic High's offense is going to have to produce here. Get the defense will get the ball back. Catholic High can get another score hopefully before the end of the ball game.
Blackstone and also Brian Williams in the slot to this side. A handoff to Minor, straight up the middle. Minor takes it out to the 34-yard line. Good gain for Catholic High. Minor's going to be stopped about 3 yards short of a first down.
McConathy on the tackle. 7-yard gain, second down and 3.
Well, Dennis, this has been everything this was billed as has really come out on the field tonight. West Monroe, good defense. It's kind of stuffed the Catholic High offense a little bit. They've got some things happening in the second half. Travis Minor's played well in the second half, but Tommy Banks has just got more carries and made more things happen. He's just been on the field more.
Okay, Applewhite now takes the football and then rolls to his left and throws out there, and it's overthrown.
Didn't have a lot of time to throw there. Looked like he had to throw it a little early. The West Monroe had a blitz on, had a little bit of pressure on him.
Klein Peter was out there, though, and he was open. The ball just overthrown.
Yeah, I think he had to throw it too early, Dennis.
Third down, 3 to go. Of course, Catholic in a 4-down situation now because they don't want to punt it back to West Monroe. Not with Banks making the first downs like he's making them. Here's Applewhite. Applewhite has a wide receiver way out to the left. Also a man in the slot, and then hands off for a first down to Travis Minor. Minor to midfield. Minor to the 40. Minor to the 30. He's to the 20. Travis Minor. Touchdown for Catholic High. That's just what the Bears needed.
Yeah, you weren't going to catch him. Yeah, they weren't going to catch him on that play. Once he got outside and got the stiff arm, they weren't going to catch him. Joe, that's what you said the Bears had to do. Took them just over a minute to get it done. West Monroe looks a little shocked.
Well, he came up the middle, and then he cut it to the outside, and boy, did he show speed as he broke it past the 40-yard line.
I think Travis took that one personal and decided he was going to take it in his own hands and put some points on the board. I'm interested in seeing what we're going to do on defense, and I'm also interested in seeing maybe Coach Wyman thinks it's about time for an onside kick.
Greg Brown has a very important extra point here because Catholic is trying to get within 7 points. Here's the extra point in the air. It is up. It is good. And it's 21-14. West Monroe leads over Catholic. 7 minutes, 16 seconds left in the game. Just what the doctor ordered for Catholic High School.
Minor took it right up the middle there and looked like a play, 4 or 5 yard play. He just bounced it outside, got a good stiff arm on the defensive back. Once he gets outside like that, it's very tough to catch him.
And a great call by the coaching staff of Catholic High School.
Yeah, they got to get the ball on the guy who got.
That's right. Dale Weiner wanted to do that, and I think that West Monroe was expecting a pass there on third down.
Looks like West Monroe's expecting an onside kick. They've got most of their guys from the 30 on up and only one guy deep here. That's number 8, Kenny King, who's deep for West Monroe.
They've got their hands team in. All the guys they have on the return team right now are receivers or backs, so they're definitely expecting an onside kick.
Greg Brown is going to try to either pin West Monroe with a long kick, and I tell you what, the receiver for West Monroe, King, is all the way up at the 16-yard line. So he's kind of expecting a squib kick or an onside kick.
We've got us a ball game again. 7:16 now, looks like all night. Where's at about 8:15 on the clock, it looked like the time's working against you.
It looks like a lot of time now, but the main thing is they're going to have to stop Banks because they can't give up a long drive by West Monroe.
You can't stop Tommy Banks. They're more than capable of keeping the football for the next 7 minutes and 16 seconds.
All right, the wind is behind Catholic now, and so West Monroe will have to go against the wind. Here's Greg Brown from the 40.
They're going to go deep with it, I believe.
And he does kick it deep, and he kicks it down to about the goal line.
And they'll have to take that on the 20.
Yeah, he's not going to bring that one out.
You get high school football, if the kickoff gets into the end zone, it's an automatic touchback.
West Monroe comes out to the 20-yard line. An all-important drive as West Monroe wants to run the clock. Catholic wants to stop them. Catholic wants it back. Catholic wants 7 more, and Catholic wants to tie this game.
I don't think West Monroe will do anything that we haven't seen all night long. They're going to run Tommy Banks. They're going to pull it back and let Dollar keep it. They may have a pitch or two, but I don't think they want to chance that with the turnover problem that they've had lately. You're probably going to see a lot of Tommy Banks here.
Well, West Monroe has a big offensive line, and now Dollar is going to take it and hand off to Banks. There he goes again, and he's got about 6 yards on the play. Good run and again a good hole on the right side of that line, Joe.
Tommy Banks is the one football player I've seen this year that can keep the ball for 7 minutes and 16 seconds and keep Catholic High from getting it back in their hands.
Tommy Banks is not a small guy himself, and pretty much all night long, when you're running a guy behind number 74, Brad Smalling, he's 6'6" and 325 pounds. Dennis, that's a heck of a load when you're getting a block from him and a guy like Tommy Banks coming through there.
Well, you got to put a shoulder pad on him. You can't just reach out and grab him. Here is Banks again for a first down. First down, West Monroe at the 33. You know, he just looks like he wants the football, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he wants it on every play. And I think if he keeps running it like that Coach Alders is going to give it to him on every play.
You know, for the first time, he looks like he is showing a little fatigue, though. He's been over a little bit in the backfield for the first time tonight.
I'm fatigued watching him, Dennis. He's got to be fatigued.
You'd be even more fatigued if you were trying to stop him. Here's Dollar again, and look at Banks right up there close on him. Banks takes the football across the 35 to the 37 and just falls forward, Rob, for 2 more yards after he's hit.
Absolutely right. Keegan Williams for Catholic High did a good job there bringing him down. It's a one-on-one tackle.
The clock is ticked down to 5 minutes, 49 seconds to go in the ball game. 21-14, West Monroe leads Catholic. Tailback is deep again for West Monroe, but Banks is right there. He's right behind the quarterback. He's got the football. He has the 40-yard line.
Now, this might be a situation here. If Catholic High can hold them this late in the game, you may see a punt out of West Monroe. This is a big play here for Catholic High's defense.
West Monroe's starting to take their time in the huddle and use that 25-second clock. Something we don't have in Baton Rouge, something we might look into to help our teams a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed that none of the stadiums in Baton Rouge have those 25-second clocks in the end zone, but it's really helped both squads tonight. You haven't seen a lot of delay of the game penalties at all, Joe.
Everybody in Rebel Stadium in West Monroe is on their feet on the Catholic side. On the West Monroe side, it's a big third down play. The Bears grab him. The Bears stop him short of a first down.
4th down and about 2. 4th down and about 2 from their own 41. Here's your play right here.
A big, big play by that.
In a similar situation last week against LaGrange, West Monroe went for this on their own 40 and didn't pick it up, and LaGrange got the football. The defense held them. Looks like they might punt here.
Boy, that was a great job by the left side of the Catholic High line.
Watch for the fake here. Watch for the fake here. The snap, if you notice, Banks is right behind center. Here it comes.
Look at this. Look at this. West Monroe runs on the field and
forced them to use a timeout there. That's good play calling by West Monroe's coaching staff.
Catholic High calls a timeout.
It's going to be interesting now to see which one of those two West Monroe teams goes back on the field, the offense or the punt team.
I think Coach Aldrich just asked his offense what he wanted to do, and they all pointed towards the Catholic High end zone.
Well, it makes it even a bigger play now because there's a timeout that Catholic High had to burn. We're down to 4 minutes and 10 seconds to play, and if West Monroe gets his first down, then the time really becomes a factor.
You're looking at Catholic High having to use up their timeouts, and probably if they got the ball back and held them on another, so you're probably looking at about the 2-minute mark. Joe, what do you do here? Do you send everybody in the kitchen sink and focus on Tommy Banks, or do you just play your normal defense and hope someone comes up with a big play?
I think Catholic High's got to bring everybody up on the football and take a chance that Banks is going to get the football.
They've got their offense in. They're going to go for this one.
Are you ready for it, Rob? Here we go.
This is what it's all about right here, Dennis.
4 minutes, 10 seconds to go. West Monroe will set the situation for you again. 4th down and 2. They have the ball just past their 41-yard line.
Something you may not see often. Travis Miners in the defensive back.
Dollar now handing off, and a big first down, and a big first down by a big man, Tommy Banks. First down in midfield.
You got to credit West Monroe, Joe, to run this many offensive plays and not have any illegal motion or holding calls. Just a great job of their offensive line.
They're not doing a whole lot. They're lining up and running the same plays over and over again and just challenging us to stop it.
Well, the clock's a-ticking again. It's at 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Catholic High digging in. West Monroe gives it to Banks again, and Banks takes it down to the 46-yard line. And he gets about 4 yards on the play. They'll give him about 3.5 as they spot it.
That was a nice stick by Matt Cross on that play, Dennis. He really was. Pop on him.
They spotted it about the 47, and so we'll call it 2nd down and 7.
Big play right here. You want to keep them in a 3rd and long situation here and make them possibly have to put it up. And if you get an incomplete pass, you stop the clock, save a timeout.
Yeah, but what they're thinking here is if I can get 3 yards a pop, that's another first down.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And that makes this play a really big one. 2nd down and 7. Catholic pulls Banks down, but he is down inside the 45.
Catholic's going to take a timeout here, I believe.
Yeah, Catholic wants to talk about this because they know this next first down would really run some clock.
They don't stop them here. They don't stop them here. It's going to take a turnover because Cavalier will be out of timeouts. Joe, I think they may have one timeout left, if I'm not mistaken. But if they don't stop them here, you're really looking for a turnover then.
I think we need the turnover. It looks like it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. You know they're going to go for it if they don't make it on 3rd down. We definitely need a turnover to get the ball with some kind of decent field position.
And, of course, Coach Aldridge from West Monroe is thinking 2 downs here again.
Yeah,
I mean, if they would consider going for it back in their own territory.
They set the tone going for it here, Dennis.
You know they're going for it here.
You don't punt for it again, no.
Coach Don Schaus, who suffered a heart attack for West Monroe a couple of weeks ago, in the press box tonight and watching this game, watching it right in midfield in the press box. Well, the Bears are back on the field, getting ready to dig in on defense. West Monroe on offense. Do you think they'll give it to Banks again?
I don't think there's any doubt. He's been able to move it most of the night. Cavalier needs to come up with a big defensive stop here.
West Monroe General Dollar takes the ball, hands off, and it's a big play by Catholic High. A big stop there.
Joe, what did they do? Did they blitz the linebackers on that play?
They set everybody on that play and just anticipated the fullback getting the ball.
Boy, that brings up, now you're looking at a 4th and 5 or a 4th and 6. That may get Coach Aldridge thinking.
Yeah, it's going to be 4th down and about 4 yards to go, but...
to take the 5-yard penalty for delay of the game. Use all the time you can use. Have a little bit more room to punt the ball.
Do you go for the block here, Joe, or do you set up a return for Travis?
Looks like the Bears are going for the block.
Here's the punt by West Monroe, coming down and short and out of bounds at about the 21-yard line, and that was a design punt for sure because they didn't want to give it to Travis.
They're not going to kick it to Travis Minor. Their defense has played fairly well tonight. They're putting it on their defense. Cavalier's putting it on their offense, and it's just going to be who can hang on for the last 2 minutes and 6 seconds.
2 minutes and 6 seconds to go from West Monroe, 21-14. The Rebels lead the Bears. Boy, the Bears, though, have showed all year long that they can come back, and when they need to make the big play, they do.
Championship drive last week in the 4th quarter against Shaw. It's going to take another one of those efforts tonight against a fine West Monroe club.
It's Blackstone, and it's Williams. Brian Williams out to the left. And Applewhite back to pass. Applewhite looking. Applewhite throwing. Wide open down the field is Williams. Brian Williams has it. Brian Williams has the ball out to the 39-yard line. First down for Catholic.
This is the first time since the 1st quarter they've been able to get Brian Williams open. I think a read pattern where he just pulls up in the middle, and Major Applewhite waits for him to make his turn and hits him with the pass.
Well, he did a good job behind the zone. He ran behind the linebackers and cut inside of the safety and just stood there. And Applewhite put it right on the money. Major Applewhite calls the signals. This time, the receivers come this way. Applewhite throws, it's knocked down.
Creedell Williams on that play. Obviously nothing wrong with the ankle because he got up high on that one.
I tell you what, he is really
he's
showing
again,
a lot of courage because he is limping. And he wants to come off the field.
Not only is Tommy Banks going to run the football about 850 times tonight, but they just put him in the game as a linebacker.
Tommy Banks comes in as a linebacker, and Catholic is now facing... They're facing a 2nd down situation, 2nd and 10, but the Bears better hurry.
7 seconds on the time clock. He won't have time to change the play here.
4 seconds on the time clock. He gets it off. Applewhite back to pass. Big rush coming, and West Monroe is still after him. They can't get him down, but they tip it. It's caught by a Catholic lineman.
That's a legal play. That's a legal play. It hit a defensive lineman's foot. The offensive lineman could catch that pass. That's a heads-up play by the offensive lineman. You got to go get the football. You don't want to. You hope he drop it, but you don't want a defensive lineman to come and pick that off.
Yeah, but it's a head-up play, Rob. But it's a big loss on the play when he might have been able to knock it down. But when that ball's in the air, you got to
go get it. You teach your guys to go get the football.
Back to pass once again is Applewhite looking down the field. A big rush, and they get Applewhite. West Monroe pulls Applewhite down.
This is your ball game right here.
At the 26-yard line. This is it for Catholic High. 51 seconds to go in the ball game. It is 4th down. 20 yards to go for a first down. Actually, about 22 yards to go for a Catholic first down. Applewhite, what will he do? The play clock is all the way down to 6 seconds. He has the Bears at the line of scrimmage.
This stadium is moving, Dennis.
2 seconds. 1 second on the play clock. Applewhite gets it off. He is rolling to the right. He is looking downfield. Throws it up, and the ball is dropped. Well, the picture tells it all. West Monroe celebrating on the sideline.
You think West Monroe is just going to take the snap and kneel it down? I think Catholic High has 1 timeout left they'll probably use.
Well, they'll only have to kneel it 2 times.
Right.
They'll kneel it 1 time and then another.
Right.
Stephen Dollar takes the ball and kneels on it. And there's a flag down.
Dollar down the ball with a flag. That's all. Offside. Called against Catholic.
Well, they get Catholic on an offside. But that really doesn't matter at this point. It's still first down. Now only 5 yards to go for West Monroe. But there are only 20 seconds left on the scoreboard clock.
They're going to have an officials timeout here. Because they got a problem with the play clock.
Well, the West Monroe players are asking the people from West Monroe to stand up. And they don't have, that's not a hard thing to get them to do.
No, they're not going to have to ask real hard. Both these teams have played good football games tonight, Dennis. You hate to see a team lose in the semifinals, but both of these teams have had great years. Catholic High has been ranked #1 all year long and had the pressure of having to come out and perform every week and get everybody's best effort. West Monroe played a good football game. They've earned their trip to the Dome. They beat the #10 ranked team in the country, the #1 ranked team in the state of Louisiana, and they've earned their trip.
Here is Dollar kneeling down again. And
that's going to do it.
That's going to do it. No timeouts left. West Monroe wins it.
West Monroe will play Karen Crow next week for the state championship. Both those teams, Karen Crow and West Monroe, have won state championships in the 90s.
It's a jubilant crowd in West Monroe, Louisiana, because the Rebels are on the way to the Superdome to play Karen Crow for the state championship next Saturday night.
Whoever's the fence company in West Monroe is going to get a call on Monday morning because the entire end zone fence was just knocked over by the fans.
The West Monroe people are piling onto the field. The fence is down under the goalpost on the west side of the stadium. What a great season, though, for Catholic High. And you know, they fought tonight, but the one thing that we were scared of before the ball game started, and that is that West Monroe would control the clock and not give Catholic a lot of opportunities to do what they like to do with the football, and that's move it with a high-powered offense.
Yeah, in the second half, when Catholic High did have the football, they moved the ball really well. Had a couple of good drives, but they just didn't have the ball enough. And when West Monroe had the chance to do things with the football, they did it. One thing that really stands out is after those two early turnovers by West Monroe, they held on to the football the rest of the night.
I tell you, great sportsmanship down on the field, too. The two teams coming together and greeting each other, congratulating each other on a very fine football game. And I'm sure Catholic wishing West Monroe the best of luck next week.
I think the key to the whole game was what you mentioned, the fact that West Monroe controlled the ball the entire football game. Calicut was not able to get the ball in the hands of Travis Minor enough tonight.
Joe, I want to thank you for coming by. You were a big help to us in the second half. I know you've got some responsibilities to take care of after the game's over, but we really appreciate it, and we really appreciate all the help Calicut gave us putting on the broadcast.
We thank you guys for being here to let Calicut be shown on TV tonight. Hopefully when we get back home, the folks back home can see a pretty good football game. It's on a tape delay basis, but it's worth watching when you get back home tomorrow.
That's a fine effort, and thank you, Joe, and thanks everybody at Calicut High School.
Dennis, Calicut, you know, a lot of people said if this team didn't make it to the Dome that the season couldn't be a success, but I don't agree at all. This team all year long had to see everybody's best effort. They were #1 all week. Everybody was, you know, there were interviews, there was media this, media that. We were fortunate enough to put them on TV 2 or 3 times. Just a great effort all season by Calicut. I think the season was a tremendous success. The district championship again, state semifinals. I don't know if you know this, but Calicut has only been to the state finals, semifinals now 3 times in the school's history. So it was a tremendous success. Unfortunately, the last game that we'll see Travis Minor play in the Baton Rouge area, he's been a treat to watch. Travis Minor moves on to Texas A&M, where he committed to earlier. Just a quality football program and a quality coach in Dale Weiner. These guys will be back. They got a lot of guys coming back that'll fill in. West Monroe, on the other hand, they earned their trip to the Dome. These guys came out, played hard. They had to win 3 good games. Natchitoches Central, LaGrange, and West Monroe were 3 quality, and Calicut were 3 quality football teams. And they played them hard. They won 3 straight close games, and their defense is the reason they're going to the Dome and giving Tommy Banks a chance to run the football.
Well, you know, Catholic High all year long, Rob, every team that plays Catholic High School, that's their big game of the year. And so, you know, to go undefeated and then being here at 13-0, boy, what a great job by Dale Weiner. And he's going to bring back a tremendous football team again next year. And Catholic High School will be in the semifinals again next year. They'll probably be in the Dome, and I look for Catholic to win a big state championship real soon.
They'll have the talent back. They've got a good coaching staff, and they'll come back from this. It's a great season for both of these squads. You just hate to see one of these teams not continue on next week. They both would have represented the state of Louisiana in Class 5A football in the Dome next week. But it ought to be a good game next week with Karen Crow and West Monroe. Right now you're seeing Calicut, Coach Dale Weiner consoling his guys. They have nothing to feel sorry about. They had a good contingent here from Baton Rouge tonight. They played a good football game. It would have taken a monumental effort to win here, regardless if you're #1 in the country, #10 in the state, #10 in the country. It doesn't matter. This was an environment to come into that you would have had to play a perfect football game to win in, no matter who you are.
I tell you, what a great group of young men, though. Look at them all over there on their knees, and some of them standing there. But Coach Weiner talking with them, and I know that's very important to them for the rest of their life, the things that they're going over right now.
Yeah, a lot of these kids may be playing their last football game or last organized sport for a long time, and you send them out on the positives. There were a lot more positive than there were negatives, even in this football game. They competed hard when they were down. They came back and had a shot at it at the end. That's all you can ask for, is to have a shot. With 2 minutes to go, they had the football, the most explosive offense in the state of Louisiana. They had a shot at it. It just tonight wasn't their night.
Was Tommy Banks even better than you thought he was?
Yeah, he was. This is the first time I've seen Tommy Banks play, and all we saw was the films in our session earlier today, and what we've heard in the statistics that we've got. But that guy's going to be tough for anybody to stop. The offense, they don't do anything. They just hand him the football, and he just runs hard. He's got a big offensive line who gives him a little bit of a crease, and with his size and his power, he doesn't make a lot of cuts. He just runs right at you. And to Calicut's credit, he didn't run over them much. They made the play. And most of the year, what we saw was that he just ran over people. But he has these qualities. I don't know what he ended up with. We've got some unofficial stats. We're going to try and get that. But I would think he had to have close to 150 to 200 yards rushing tonight.
He's a great back, and of course, when they pulled the ball away from him, they had that tailback back in that deep position, and he had a tremendous head of steam, and he had a good look at the football field from back there.
He did, and just a good football game. I think Gene Ponty's trying to get some interviews for us down on the field, and I think we'll throw to Gene. I think he's got Coach Aldridge on the field, or one of the West Monroe coaches.
All right, let's go down to the field. Gene Ponte now.
Well, everybody, a very victorious head football coach for the West Monroe Rebels, whose team really came out in the second half, Jerry, and I thought dominated the football game. Your offense stayed on the football field, which I know is what you had to do to win this football game.
Well, that was our game plan. And our game plan is always, let's be more physical than the other team in the second half. And we try to sell our guys that we work harder than other teams. And whether we do or not, you know, they don't know the difference. Hopefully they don't. I know one thing, we spend a lot of time. And we tell them we've been working 53 weeks for this moment. And I thought it paid off in the second half. I thought we came out the second half, as you said, offensively and dominated the football game. And that's, you know, to me, that's what won it for us. We didn't play a whole lot of defense.
Well, Coach, you had to be thinking what when they ran the opening kickoff back? That was a big...
Well, you know, our kids are conditioned, I think, just like Neville. We come out against Neville, which is the biggest ball game of the year for West Monroe high school football. They're up 12-0, and people aren't sitting in their seats good yet. And we overcame that. We you know, you learn from these things that happen that, hey, it takes 48 minutes.
As good as a halfback as Travis Minor is, I think Tommy Branks proved himself as a fullback tonight. Two of probably the best running backs in the state we certainly saw on this football field this evening.
Well, I think it goes down to the basic fundamentals of what we try to do a lot of times in this district, and that's hard-nosed, smash-mouth football that wins football games, and then a finesse-type team, which Catholic is, throw the ball, get the ball to Minor all different ways. And the bottom line is in our district, we think that's what wins ball games.
Well, Coach, one more to go against Karen Crow, and I still don't think you played your best football game of the year yet. You hope not.
I hope not. I hope not. Oh, one other correction. Now, I am just acting, okay?
Well, I know.
I'm acting. I told Don there's nothing to this head coaching stuff, but I lied to him.
Well, it was certainly great having him up at the press box. And a great win for y'all, Coach. Congratulations.
He gave us a lot of help up there tonight.
He certainly did. Good luck next week in the Dome.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, a big win for the West Monroe Rebels as they get the job done here in the semifinals. They move on to the Superdome, as we said, next week against Karen Crow. Right now, Catholic High, it's been tough for them. They're 1-5 now against teams from District 2-5A, and it was a big win for the home Rebels. Coach, boy, a tough loss tonight on the road, and I guess the inability to stop Tommy Banks was probably the big key.
Yeah, they did an outstanding job, not only blocking, but Tommy just running the ball. And we waited, you know, it took us until the second half to get our offense on track. We should have done a better job first half offensively, and I think that was a big key to the game. But I tell you what, our kids really played their hearts out, and I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of our coaches, and I wish them well.
Okay, Coach, good work. Thanks.
Well, let's wrap it up now from Rebel Stadium in West Monroe. The final score, West Monroe, a winner over Catholic High School. The Rebels go to the Superdome to play Karen Crow 21-14. Let me congratulate you guys on a tremendous year of high school football. Great job by TCI bringing this thing to the table. The TCI game of the week. You and Rich Loop and your whole crew, the whole year. What a great job you guys did. Covering high school football in the Baton Rouge area. As good a coverage, probably the best coverage I have ever seen in covering high school football.
Dennis, thank you very much, and it was great having you here with us tonight. I know you've done this before. You're an old pro at this, and like riding a bike, once you get back on it after falling down, you do a great job. You did a good job for us tonight. Some of the guys that they never get to mention, the Aaron Michelle's, Art Root, our director and head camera guy, Gene Ponte, who was with us tonight, Rich Loop, who couldn't be with us tonight, John Jackson, our field camera guy, Alan Semino up here with our third camera. These guys don't get a lot of credit, but they've done a great job. We had rain almost every time we went out to do a football game. Thank TCI for coming up with a great idea of putting the high school football on. They've been supportive all year long. Mike Ross and the guys over there have just done a great job, and it's just been a fun season. And as my dad would say, it's been fantastic.
Well, it's been a great season, and let's be sure and thank a man that was real instrumental in putting this whole thing together, Jeff Rouchet over at TCI, because Jeff really had the vision on this game and the TCI game of the week, and he committed to it, and they put what they needed to do to put into it to make it work.
Yeah, Jeff did everything he could whenever Art or someone on the TCI staff has or something, we got it. All of our corporate sponsors, I want to thank them again. We can't thank them enough. The Reeboks and the protective insurance and Mushmack Photography. It can go Specialty Plastics, Hooters, McMakin Financial, all those guys for being so supportive. Jerry Lane Enterprises. Hibernia Bank came on tonight, and I think may be with us throughout basketball. Want to mention TCI is not going to end here. We can't do anything with the Superdome, but we are going to do TCI basketball game of the week starting in a couple of weeks in the Baton Rouge area. Hopefully take that through the top 28. That's already been approved by TCI. Looking forward to that. Going to probably keep the same crew together, see if we can't pull you out the mothballs again to come to a basketball game. But just want to thank TCI again. I've had a great time, and it's been worth it for me.
Well, Mike Ross over at TCI, very complimentary of what you guys are doing. I know he's proud of the job that you did all year on the TCI Game of the Week. It's been a pleasure, Rob. You did a great job. You called a lot of plays even before they happened, and it was great to have someone like you sitting next to me as we were sitting on top of the press box tonight and not wanting to lean back for sure.
Two other people, or whatever you want to call them, to be thanked. Catholic High School, West Monroe, so supportive all week long and getting us what we needed to put the broadcast on. The people here at West Monroe had to set us up a spot on the press box. We just asked, and they were right there to do it. One of the nicest spots we've had all year long. I want to thank those guys. I want to thank their field crew for helping us earlier today set up. We're there for anything we needed. Wish Coach Showles good health. Hope he can be on the sideline next week when the Rebels play Karen Crow. One thing, Mitch Small with the LHSAA asked me to mention, tickets will be on sale for the final games at the Superdome press box or at both the participating schools. Go out, that dome can seat a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people there, but high school football in the state of Louisiana was never really down, but it's back. High school football, you can't find it played anywhere else any better in the country.
Well, it didn't get any better than it was tonight. A beautiful ball game, a tremendous football game in West Monroe. And we'll just say goodbye from West Monroe. I'm Dennis McCain, and for Rob Mushmack, and also down on the field for Gene Ponte, goodbye from West Monroe, Louisiana. The final, once again, the West Monroe Rebels 21, Catholic 14.